The Boise State Broncos are unbeaten in 5th ranks. Kellen Moore is 46-2 all-time. But the TCU Horned Frogs have 21 consecutive conference wins, and they're here to claim what they feel is rightfully theirs. It's finally here, TCU and Boise State.
TCU cruises in for the touchdown.
DJ Harper, touchdown Broncos. Picture perfect November afternoon here in Boise for the Mountain West Conference. Most attractive game on the schedule. TCU at 7-2, unbeaten Boise State with 35 consecutive home wins, playing host to the defending conference champs. It's best against best.
TCU, they have obviously tremendous talent, but when you combine that with great coaching, they don't give up anything easy, and they do a great job.
Anytime Boise and TCU got together, it's been a great ball game. It's been a game that anybody should want to watch, and I don't expect it to be any different this time.
Okay. Yep. Have a good game, guys.
It is the game we've all been waiting for, the Mountain West Conference this season. TCU, the defending champions in the Mountain West Conference, playing at Boise State. The Broncos right now undefeated and ranked number 5 in the BCS. Paul Burmeister and Sean King in the booth. Anthony Herron on the field. The Horned Frogs won the toss. They deferred, and Boise State will get the ball first. And we were almost ready to start, Sean. Welcome to Boise, Idaho. We are moments away from the Mountain West Conference game we have been waiting for all season. Number 5 Boise State playing host to the defending conference champion TCU Horned Frogs, and away we go. Mitch Burrows out to the 40-yard line, giving Kellen Moore, the nation's all-time leader in wins at quarterback, an excellent start to this game. Paul Burmeister and Sean King in the booth. Anthony Herron on the field. Also on the field, Kellen Moore at 74%. Leads the nation in that category. Quality unit up front for Kellen Moore. Nate Potter at left tackle is the stud of that group. And behind him, Doug Martin is out. DJ Harper will start. He went over 100 yards a week ago against UNLV. Doug Martin has a foot injury. He is dressed. We'll wait and see if he does play. Empty backfield now for Kellen Moore. Quick flip out wide. Matt Miller, the freshman. Gain of 5 to bring up 2nd down 5. TCU defense up front, led by Stanley Mapunga, leads this team in tackles for loss and also sacks. In the middle, Tank Carter is the reigning Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year. And in the back end, keep an eye on number 41, Jonathan Anderson, been coming on late. A tackling machine, including 17 against BYU 2 games ago. DJ Harper up the middle.
And Paul, you mentioned no Doug Martin due to a lower leg injury that he suffered last week against UNLV. That's 811 yards and 9 touchdowns. I fully expect Kellen Moore in this offense to utilize his short passing game to supplement some of that production that's lost without Doug Martin being in the lineup.
3rd down and 5 coming up for Boise State on its first possession. Broncos converting exactly 50% of 3rd down situations coming into this game. Quick set and drop, and Tyler Shoemaker, Johnny Fobbs with a big hit. Penalty marker on the play. It's a gain of 8. Will be a first down. We shall see why there is a marker on the field. The referee today is Scott Novak.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness on the defense, number 51. Targeting. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Number 51 is the linebacker Kenny Kane.
And this is going to be very interesting today because TCU has a big secondary that is aggressive and that creates violent contact. Johnny Fobbs to Karen Cuban. I mean, these guys really come up and lay the hat. Kellen Moore is going to try and utilize this short passing game. We'll see if this Boise wideouts can hold up under what I think is going to be a very physical afternoon for them.
First down and 10. Boise State on the move. Kellen Moore back to the air. Forces it inside to Shoemaker. Kenny Kane is there. Falls incomplete. Kellen Moore, incredible numbers across the board, but not so much against these TCU Horned Frogs, Sean.
You know, Gary Patterson and that TCU defense, they do a good job of playing that matchup zone. They employ a 4-2-5, so they have 5 defensive backs on the field at all times. Really gives them advantage in their pass coverage.
Only 2 times in the last 36 games. Kellen Moore with 0 touchdown passes. Both of those efforts coming against TCU in bowl games. DJ Harper picking his way through the middle. And Tank Carter is there to wrap him up, gain of 1.
DJ Harper is a good running back in his own right, but he's a different running back than Doug Martin. He's more of an elusive, get him on the edges type of back, whereas Doug Martin is one of those guys who can really be physical and run between the tackles. I think that's a huge loss from this Boise State offense today.
I mentioned that Boise State coming into this game converting 50% on third down, already 1 for 1. And Gary Patterson told me the key, get them in 3rd and 6 and more. Well, here's a good situation for their Horned Frogs. 3rd down and 9. Little give inside. Gain of 5. And that is Mitch Burrows, the normal wide receiver, lining up at tailback as Doug Martin again is out with a foot injury.
And Boise are going to get creative. They're going to find a way to supplement that loss of production because Doug Martin is not available. You see they bring their slot receiver, Mitch Burrows, into the backfield, allow him to run the zone play that time with quarterback Kellen Moore.
Going for it on 4th and 4, 8 out of 15 the Broncos are so far on 4th down conversions. Kellen Moore sliding in the pocket, firing. That's going to be right at the sticks. Complete to his tight end, Kyle Efaw, and that is a first down. Tackle made by Tank Carter. So Boise State gets the ball on its own 40-yard line. Big return, converting a 3rd down right away, getting the penalty, and now converting on 4th down. It's Moore to Efaw. And
Kellen showed a lot of confidence in his tight end, Efaw, right there. And really not a lot of room. Fits that football into a very small window.
Mitch Burrows now split out wide to Kellen Moore's right. He has taken a couple snaps at tailback. Tailback right now is DJ Harper. Moore, look at that time. And look at the one-handed catch from Matt Miller. A lot of 2s on that play, 22-yard touchdown to number 2, Matt Miller, but an important number 1, a one-handed catch.
TCU likes to play that matchup defense. You're going to get some one-on-one matchups. Great throw by Kellen Moore. Jason Verrett tries to undercut it, can't quite get to the football. Touchdown, Boise State.
Dan Goodale on to attempt the extra point. Up and in. And what a strong start for the BCS 5th-ranked Boise State Broncos. 8 plays, 60 yards, and 22 yards from Kellen Moore to Matt Miller. 1 possession, 1 touchdown, and a one-handed grab. We're early in Boise, and the Broncos lead the Horned Frogs by 7. What a first drive for the Boise State Broncos. You see number 2 there, Matt Miller, hauling in a 22-yard touchdown reception from Kellen Moore. And the 5th-ranked Broncos lead 7-0. 8 plays, 60 yards, 3:33 off the clock. 3rd down converted, 4th down converted, and it culminates with the Matt Miller one-handed touchdown grab. Back deep for the TCU Horned Frogs. Number 7 is Greg Mccoy. He leads the Mountain West Conference in kickoff return average at a little over 29 yards.
And that's just great ball placement by Kellen Moore. You can't teach that. Some quarterbacks have that ability just to put the football in spots where only their wideout can make a play.
And ball placement is something that jumps out right away when you watch Kellen Moore in person and practice on tape. He can put it right between the numbers if he has to. Leave it behind you if that's best. He can really put it right where he wants.
He does. He does. He understands the system. He understands the scheme at Boise. He understands how to operate within it, where the football needs to go, and he does it on a consistent basis.
This is Wayman James going nowhere thanks to that Boise State special teams unit. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 17-yard line after a gain of 8. Let's check in for the first time with Anthony Herron.
Paul, we already touched on Doug Martin and the iffy situation of whether or not Boise State starting tailback would play in today's ball game. Just as important an injury happened last week on the defensive side of the ball, where their all-everything defensive tackle Billy Wynn left the game against UNLV, against their opponent last week. He will play. He's dressed in today's ball game, so we expect to see him on the field.
Not out there right now, starting in his place, Mike Atkinson, number 99. The tailback is number 34 for TCU, and they will have to wait to run that first play.
We'll start on the offense. Number 55, 5-yard penalty, first down.
I would have been perfectly okay in understanding, Sean, if there would have been some drop-off from Andy Dalton to Casey Paul Hall, but that drop-off, if there is any, it's been hard to detect.
Very true. He's done a good job, Paul, and the most amazing thing about the young sophomore's performance is he's really done a good job of protecting the football. 19 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions entering today's ball game.
First down and 15 will be his first play from the 15. Has a hard time with the snap. Scoops it back up and has a wide open Sky Dawson. Just missed him. And it'll be 2nd down and 10. TCU offense led by the sophomore, Casey Paul Hall, putting up very good numbers in his first season starting. And up front, the glue that holds that group together, Kyle Dooley, the former walk-on, making his 37th start here this afternoon. Josh Boyce, just a sophomore, but for the 2nd year in a row, leads the Horned Frogs in receiving yards, little over 15 yards per reception. This will be 2nd down and 15.
TCU took a shot down the field. They run the football effectively. Gary Patterson felt like they can get behind these boys and safeties.
True freshman Brandon Carter trying to get outside. Unable to do so. The Boise defense, Mike Atkinson there. Also Tyrone Crawford, gain of 2. Boise State defense, speaking of Tyrone Crawford, leads this team in tackles for loss and also sacks. Only 2 linebackers in the 4-2-5 alignment. Byron Hout, 2nd on the team in tackles. First is the safety, the veteran, George Iloka, starting for the 36th time here this afternoon.
And Paul, Boise's offense gets all the credit, but they have 2 NFL quality defensive linemen in Tyson Crawford and Shea McClellan.
Boise State's 3rd down defense, number 1 in the country. Opponents converting only 26% of the time.
And if
off his back foot, down goes Paul Hall, drives it into the dirt. And that's a 3 and out produced by that Bronco defense.
this front 4 of Boise State can really rush the passer. They go to a joker look where they have 3 down linemen and they stand up Shea McClellan on 3rd down. A lot of times that causes confusion for the offensive line of their opponent.
Aaron Tevis in from his linebacker position to force Casey Paul Hall to rush that throw, and Anson Kelton on to punt. Brings his 39-yard average and 3.5 years of starting experience with him. Chris Potter deep for Boise State. Fair catch on his own 33-yard line. Anson Kelton's punt of 49 yards and a net of 49 with the fair catch. 2 possessions apiece and a 7-point lead, or 1 possession apiece. Broncos by 1. Welcome back to Boise. 10:19 left in the first quarter. 22-yard touchdown from Kellen Moore to Matt Miller. And that's been the difference so far. Casey Paul Hall, just 1 possession so far. It was a 3 and out. Boise State defense was strong. And the Broncos lead by 7. Second possession set to begin here from their own 33-yard line. Kellen Moore, the shotgun, and DJ Harper behind him. Typical outing for Kellen Moore last week at UNLV, 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. DJ Harper with the carry, and Kenny Kane, the tackle. That's a gain of 5.
And on that last drive for Boise offensively, that was Kellen Moore's first touchdown pass against this Gary Patterson TCU defense. They've played them twice in bowl games, and Kellen has come away from both of those contests without throwing a touchdown.
Mitch Burrows, the wide receiver, now lined up at tailback. Throwing back to Kellen Moore. He would like to throw again, does so, and just overshoots Tyler Shoemaker. Penalty markers on the field.
Tyler Shoemaker, the intended.
Pass on the offense, number 11. Second pass was forward. A 5-yard foul from the spot of the second pass. Loss of down. 3rd down.
You know, Kellen's going to toss this football to Mitch Burrows, and Kellen didn't get enough depth as he nakeds around, and it ended up being a forward pass from him, from Mitch Burrows. So that eliminated Kellen's opportunity to throw the football down the field. But Chris Peterson, they don't have their leading rusher in Doug Martin. They're going to force TCU to cover the entire field, sideline to sideline.
Kellen Moore coming underneath to Mitch Burrows, breaks the tackle, gets out across the 35-yard line. Moore to Burrows for a gain of 9. TCU defense responds after giving up the touchdown on Boise's first drive, forcing 4th down and 6. Brad Elkin on to punt for the Broncos. Starting tailback Ed Wesley set to return. Low knuckling punt. Turns out just fine for Boise State, down at the 26-yard line, gain of a punt of 38 and a net of 38. Let's take a look at Lowe's building toward the BCS. Boise State yet to lose and ranked number 5 in the rankings. Oklahoma State winning and looking good winning today, Sean.
Texas Tech just has not been the same since they upset Oklahoma. I looked at the halftime score. It was Oklahoma State 49, Texas Tech 0.
Matthew Tucker, the tailback. Here comes Jamar Taylor on the blitz. He's picked up. Paul Hall wants to go deep and lays it perfectly to Josh Boyce. Touchdown, TCU.
I mentioned it on the first play of the game when that Casey Paul Hall took the opportunity down the field. Gary Patterson feels like they can get behind this Boise secondary. Great job by Josh Boyce. Runs an out and up. Ebo McKinday tries to make an adjustment. Wonderfully thrown ball by the young quarterback, Casey Paul Hall. And an offensive line from TCU did a great job. Boise actually brought a corner blitz on that play that they picked up very well.
Ross Evans up and in, and that's a 74-yard touchdown from Casey Paul Hall to Josh Boyce. And we are all tied at 7. Yeah, when I talked to Gary Patterson earlier this week, he praised that Boise State defense up and down, but said, he was very honest about it, he said, I don't think they're that great at defending the deep pass. We've got speedy receivers. Casey can put it out there, and we're going to take some shots.
And it's all going to come down to pass protection. You know, one thing that Boise has done throughout this year is put tremendous pressure on the opposing quarterback, where you don't have time to let those down the field routes develop. But if you see Casey has a clean pocket, gives Josh Boyce an opportunity to run a double move route. Very good young receiver in Josh Boyce, has struggled with some droughts, but big play by the TCU quarterback to tie the football game at 7-7.
Josh Boyce with his seventh touchdown receiving this year. We're all tied at 7. 74 yards from Casey Paul Hall. Casey has a touchdown pass. Kellen Moore has a touchdown pass. His 22 yards to the freshman Matt Miller. And we're locked up at 7. This is Mitch Burrows. He's got a seam out across the 30, brought down at the 32-yard line. Brought down by Travaris Battle.
And on that 74-yard touchdown from Casey Paul Hall to Josh Boyce, Pete Kwiatkowski to Boise, defensive coordinator, draws up a corner blitz, but TCU has a very senior offensive line. Their right tackle, Robert Deck, does a good job of picking it up, which gives Casey the time to get the football to Josh Boyce down the field. This is something that if they can keep Casey clean, keep him in a clean pocket, they'll have a lot of success throwing the football vertically against this Boise defense.
1st and 10 on the 32. Play action to DJ Harper. Kellen Moore to Geraldo Boldevine. Catch pivot across the 40-yard line. Boise State gain at 12. Tackle made by Kevin White.
They're still waiting for Geraldo Boldevine to continue to emerge as the playmaker. They think he's got the physical capabilities to be, but he's been inconsistent. Had a big first game out there a few weeks back, and now his productivity has dropped off in recent weeks.
Missed the first 4 games this season. NCAA suspension for receiving impermissible benefits. Tallest, fastest receiver on the team. Throwing once again on 1st down, and Kellen Moore goes down. David Johnson there with a sack, loss of 3. Ross Forrest from his defensive end position right there, number 52 as well.
That's encouraging for Gary Patterson because they didn't have to bring a 5th or a 6th rusher. They're able to get this kind of pressure on Kellen Moore from their 4-down lineman. And it wasn't Stanley Mapunga. He's actually been shut down so far by Charles Leno Jr., the right tackle from Boise. But if they can have the other pass rushers make their plays, it's going to help out everyone.
Kellen Moore been sacked only 4 times now this season. DJ Harper trying to find his way through the middle of that defense. DJ Yandry there meets him first. Ross Forrest is there, so too is Jason Ferret.
And if there is a weakness to Kellen Moore's game, Paul, it's the fact that he's not a great athlete. He's not a guy that's going to get outside of the pocket and pick up 20 and 30 yards a clip. Gary Patterson said this is the first time in about 5 weeks that they played a team that didn't have a quarterback that could hurt them actually by running the football.
And this is the type of 3rd down situation he wants to see Kellen Moore facing. 3rd down 11.
And Anthony mentioned Stanley Mapunga. You see him standing up.
Here comes the blitz. Shuffling away from it is Moore. This is Tyler Shoemaker. Brought down by Takaren Cuba, a couple of yards short of the 1st down. The gain is 9. We do have a penalty marker down on the 38-yard line.
They actually zone dropped him in that instance, but that's a matchup you don't want to watch anytime Boise is in 3rd and long. Comes into the game with 6 sacks on the season.
There is no foul on the play for a defensive hold. The offensive player ran right through it. 4th down.
Tackling so key. When you run a zone dog, you're dropping a defensive end into coverage, you're bringing other people from different angles, and so as a defender, once you're working out into different flats and getting to other levels, you have to be able to square yourself up and make a tackle. That's precisely what TCU did right there.
So the TCU defense allows a touchdown on Boise's first drive. Nobody back deep here for TCU.
Chris Peterson and his special teams are known for running fake punts. Gary Patterson's not taking any chances.
Punts it away, 2nd possession in a row that ends with a Boise State punt. And that had an excellent chance to be down inside the 1-yard line. It appeared the Bronco was inside the end zone when he touched it first. We'll sort this one out. See if Lee Hightower was indeed in TCU football when we come back. All tied at 7 here in Boise. Interesting scenario there on the punt that was down inside the 1 for Moore. Let's throw it down to Anthony Herron.
It's a confusing situation that comes up oftentimes when you're comparing the college game to the NFL game because the rule is different in college football. As a coverage person, you're allowed to cross the plane of the goal line as long as the football itself is kept out of the end zone. So there are probably a lot of people watching this game at home wondering why you get the ball inside the one. When the coverage person is obviously in the end zone, it's because the college rule is slightly different than what we see in the NFL.
Anthony Herron, thank you very much. Nice work with the rules there. And now this TCU offense on its last possession, 74-yard touchdown from Paul Hall to Boyce. Now it's first and 99 and a half. Paul Hall to run, rolling to his left. And fires a strike to Josh Boyce. How's that for confidence in your sophomore quarterback? Inside the one, you let him throw, and that's 15 yards.
And during the course of this season, Paul, he's gained that confidence. I mentioned his touchdown to interception ratio, 19 touchdowns to only 5 picks. What's very impressive about this, last week in Wyoming, through a very bad pick in the red zone, they have not lost confidence in their sophomore. They fully believe that he's capable of leading this offensive ball club.
Completing over 68% of your passes, 19 touchdowns to 5 picks. That'll gain confidence in your coaches. Or from your coaches. First and 10 from the 16. Working the option now. Keeps it himself. Byron Hout there to prevent the big gain. It's only a gain of 3.
As we spoke to Gary Patterson this week, guys, how many times did he tell us they want Casey Paul Hall to be a more aggressive runner with the football in his hands? You're seeing a guy 6'5", over 220 pounds with this type of athleticism. He can be a person that adds an additional element to this Horned Frog offense.
And Justin Fuente, quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, the co-offensive coordinator, told me this week, we knew he was faster than Andy Dalton, but he hasn't quite been that comfortable yet running the football. Something they're still waiting on. Very comfortable passing it. This is Antoine Hicks, tackled by Byron Hout, gain of 7. Less than a yard shy of another first down.
And you can expect this hurry-up set to be some kind of quarterback sneak to try and pick up this 3rd and short.
There's the quarterback sneak, easily. TCU first down. We do have a late penalty marker, really thrown right on top of that pile. It's a gain of 2 if it stands.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, number 84. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Well, just moments ago, Casey Paul Hall was taking the snap with his feet in his own end zone. And the Horned Frogs easily moving the football. Get a 15-yard penalty here.
This is the advantage of having a big quarterback. Casey 6'5", 220. Very easy to pick up those 3rd and shorts in the quarterback sneak.
And that's not 84, it's 94, the linebacker Byron Hout. First and 10 from the 43. Luke Shivers in motion. Paul Hall with the inside give to Wayman James into Boise State territory, and another TCU first down. Gain of 12 for the man who's 2nd in the nation in rushing yards per attempt at 8.5.
TCU employs a 3 running back offense. Wayman James is that explosive guy that can take any carry to the house.
This is the biggest offensive line that Boise State has faced this season. As much as TCU can have success running the football, you use that word comfortable, Paul. Casey Paul Hall is going to be that much more comfortable.
Boise State bringing the blitz and causing the fumble. Wayman James with the hustle to recover. Where the pitch goes wrong for Casey Paul Hall. And out of nowhere, the tailback, Wayman James, one play after picking up a first down, comes up with a huge play that is, though, a loss of 21.
And this is just a great job up top by Boise State. They're going to get penetration. I told you, they have 2 NFL caliber players at defensive end. Shea McClellan and Tyson Crawford are as good as any defensive end tandem in the entire country.
We saw TCU with some ball handling issues several times last week against Wyoming. That's where they need Paul Hall to be better.
Sky Dawson with the football. Out to the 36-yard line, George Iloka, the leading tackler on this team. Only a gain of 3. The 3rd down and 28. About 3 weeks ago, Sean, we stood right here when Air Force had 3rd and 21 and got 22 on that fullback dive. I'm not so sure it's in the playbook for the Horned Frogs.
We talked to defensive coordinator Pete Kwiatkowski yesterday. He still was a little upset and ornery about giving up that 1st down.
Fake to Tucker. Dawson once again, quick moves, but going nowhere. Jarrell Root with the tackle, gain of 2. And that 21-yard loss on the fumble that was recovered by Wayman James leads to a punting situation for the TCU Horned Frogs.
3rd down so key, game in and game out. And we're watching today the top 3rd down offense in TCU in the entire Mountain West Conference against the top 3rd down defense in all of college football in Boise State.
Anson Kelton on the punt. Just gets it off, and that's a beauty. Chris Potter lets it go. And into the end zone it goes. Punt of 62 yards, and it'll be a net of 42. Wondering who the top 2 programs since 2005 are? We've got them right here. The Broncos and the Horned Frogs, an unbelievable run of success.
The consistency to year in and year out put a product on the field that can win 10, 11 ball games. It's really impressive. You talk about the non-AQ schools and how much noise has been made about the Boise's and the TCUs. These are the 2 programs that have been at the forefront of all of that. They've done it the right way. They produce good kids. They play a good brand of football.
Boise State's first possession led to a touchdown. The last 2 have ended in punts. DJ Harper off the right side. Jason Verrett stands in Mapunga there. And that's a gain of 4. Kenny Kane from his linebacker spot also in on that tackle. We have still yet to see number 22, the leading rusher for Boise State, Doug Martin, out with a foot injury. He is dressed today. Coming into this game, the 2nd leading rusher in the Mountain West Conference. Second down 6. Moore now has trips wide receivers to his left. Looking deep in, that'll fall incomplete. Late penalty marker as Tyler Shoemaker held up a little bit there by Devin Johnson, number 26.
Pass interference on the defense, number 26. 15-yard penalty. 1st down.
Devin Johnson, former walk-on. Coming into this season, the only tackle he had in his career came in the Fiesta Bowl against Boise State after the 09 season.
A little too much contact as they move down the field. Boise's not a team that can line up and be dynamic on the edges, just take 5-step drops and throw takeoffs. They have to be creative in how they induce downfield passing, and they do that a lot with guys like Tyler Shoemaker.
DJ Harper on 1st and 10, breaking a tackle and breaking into TCU territory to the 28-yard line. Greg Mccoy finally makes the tackle, but DJ Harper has 32 hard-earned yards.
Doug Martin, known as a guy who's deceptively fast as a tailback, but DJ Harper, there is no doubt about it. He is lightning in a bottle when he gets the football in his hands. This is the gear that's now back for DJ Harper as a ball carrier after both ACL injuries he suffered throughout his career. It's difficult to imagine whether or not that's going to come back, but when you watch him down here from field level in person, you see this guy has every gear necessary.
And that tackle he broke in the backfield, none other than Tank Carter, the most decorated defender in the Mountain West Conference. The reigning Mountain West Conference Player of the Year and also Rose Bowl defensive MVP. Pretty even so far in total yards. Boise with 114, TCU with 98. The important numbers on the scoreboard. We are all tied at 7. Boise State, TCU heading in to quarter number 2. Not been any different this time on a perfect November afternoon for football in Boise. The Horned Frogs and the Broncos all tied at 7. Paul Burmeister, Sean King in the booth, Anthony Herron on the field. Kellen Moore has his Broncos driving. 1st and 10 from the TCU 29. Play action to Harper. Delivers a little bit high, maybe too high to his freshman receiver, Matt Miller, falls incomplete. First quarter, awfully balanced for the Bronco offense. 8 runs, 8 passes. Kellen Moore, 7 for 9. Casey Paul 5 for 7. Top 2 ranked quarterbacks in the Mountain West Conference. The only game today that features 2 quarterbacks that are ranked in the top 10 nationally. You expect numbers like that, Sean.
Very similar, these two ball clubs. Both play really good defense. Both are aggressive and physical, and both get good quarterback play.
On 2nd and 10, this is Mitch Burrows. That's the football on the ground. TCU believes it has the ball. Moore with the completion to Burrows. Puts it on the turf to Karen Cuba, comes up with it. And the Horned Frogs have the football 1st and 10. Devin Johnson, former walk-on safety, causing that fumble right there.
And that's all hustle, Paul. He was not on the play side, came all the way from the back side of that play, never quit, never gave up, makes a big play for this TCU defense.
Only the 9th turnover of the season for the Boise State offense. Coming into this game, they had 8, the fewest in the Mountain West Conference. Now, it appears...
Prior to the ball being snapped, the last play is under further review.
Replay booth takes a look at every single play, and they're going to take a closer look at this one. Take a look at it in slow motion. The Kellen Moore completion to Mitch Burrows is the knee down before the ball comes out. Ruling on the field was fumble, TCU football. Sean, what do you think?
Like
ball out?
It looks like it's almost simultaneously. I mean, very difficult to tell if that right knee touches, but it looks like the ball is coming out at the same time. Again, on the field, it was called a fumble. Is that enough evidence to overturn the call?
And that is the most important question you just mentioned there, Sean. Has to be indisputable video evidence for them to overturn the call on the field.
Devin Johnson, the former walk-on at safety, causing that fumble. Didn't get on the field in 2010. Emerging here this year in that TCU secondary.
After review, the ball was loose before the knee was down. The fumble was recovered by TCU. First down.
Mitch Burrows' fumble recovered by Karen Cuba. Call stands. Casey Paul comes back out on the field once again.
And ball security for these Boise wideouts. I mentioned it on the first drive, Paul. That TCU secondary is big. They're aggressive to Karen Cuba, Devin Johnson. I mean, they really bring the hat.
First down and 10 from the 22. And Wesley. No gain. Lee Hightower making the tackle in that Boise State secondary. 3 running backs can really make it go for TCU. Ed Wesley, now healthy once again after missing games 2, 3, and 4. Wayman James and number 29, Matthew Tucker. All 3 get a healthy dose. It's now 2nd down. Ed Wesley up just across the 25-yard line. Gain of 3. George Iloka with the tackle.
It'd be very difficult, I think, for TCU to stay in those static traditional personnel groups and run the football. Boise's very good up front. If TCU wants to have success running the football, I think they're better off spreading Boise out and trying to create some natural creases by the formation.
Third down situations when TCU has the football. One of the best games within this very good game as Boise State leads the nation in third down defense. Casey Paul with the pump and going deep once again, and another wide open Horned Frog. True freshman Brandon Carter will score. 75 yards, Casey Paul to Brandon Carter.
And Paul, this is that old-fashioned 200 jet sluggo. You're going to get a slant and go by Brandon Carter. Great route by the freshman. One of the more highly decorated recruits from last year's recruiting class for Gary Patterson. He mentioned in the meeting he thought that they could consistently get behind this Boise secondary.
And get behind is exactly what they have done. That was 75 yards from Paul Hall to Carter. Injured Bronco is Ivo McKinday. So 75 yards Paul Hall to Carter. Earlier in the first quarter, it was 74 yards from Paul Hall to Josh Boyce. Ross Evans up and in. And after trailing 7-0, the passing game. Very good defense, bringing TCU right back. Casey Paul Hall knew exactly what to do with the turnover forced by his defense. Hit Brandon Carter for a 75-yard score. Casey Paul Hall has 2 touchdown passes today, and the Horned Frogs have a 7-point lead. Ivo McKinday being worked on the sideline. Victimized moments ago. Casey Paul Hall, 75 yards to Brandon Carter. Paul Hall now 6 out of 8. 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 to Carter. 74 yards to Josh Boyce earlier, and that 75-yard hookup from Paul Hall to Carter, the longest play from scrimmage for TCU this season. Burrows dropped at the 23-yard line. Tackle made by Antonio Graves.
And Ivo McKinday, the Boise corner, he gets caught looking into the backfield. He knows it's 3rd and 8. He sees Brandon Carter, the freshman receiver from TCU, run that slant. All he's thinking is pick 6, touchdown. They're running the double move. They get behind him. And a lot of people thought coming into this year that the group that probably had suffered the most significant losses was the wide receiver position. You lose Austin Pettis and a Titus Young to National Football League. I think it's the secondary. The attrition of Kyle Wilson going to the Jets, Jerron Johnson going to Seattle. Their best cover corner, Jarrell Givens, they lost a couple weeks ago to a season-ending injury. I think that's where this Boise defense is weakest, is at the cornerback spot.
First down and 10. This is DJ Harper cutting it back. And he is met by Kenny Kane. Gain of 2, and how many programs can lose the top tackler from a year ago, Tanner Brock, out for the season with an injury, and step up with a Kenny Kane?
And Kenny Kane is actually a young man that I know personally. My backup quarterback at Tulane, Jeff Curtis, is the assistant head coach at John Curtis Christian down in New Orleans, Louisiana, which is where Kenny Kane attended high school.
From Metairie, 4-time state champion in high school, also a member of the 4x1 state championship track effort in high school as well. Horned Frogs with a blitz. Kellen Moore to Matt Miller to beat it right at the first down marker for a gain of 8. Greg McCoy with the coverage for TCU.
This is what you call a now route. Matt Miller's just going to come right now down the line of scrimmage. Great ball location by Kellen Moore. And offensively, I think this is what Boise is going to have to do. They're going to have to utilize that quick, short passing game to supplement not having Doug Martin.
The first down line is brought to you by Geico. Just enough for a first there. It's 1st and 10 Broncos. Back to the ground game. DJ Harper across the 40-yard line, approaching another Bronco first down. That's a gain of 9. And Mccoy once again with a tackle.
And you talk about not having Doug Martin. For DJ Harper, this is an opportunity that he's been waiting for. I'm sure he didn't want to get it because of injury, but he understands what it's like to be the starting tailback. He was the starting tailback here in Boise. He suffered a devastating knee injury and never was able to regain that spot from Doug Martin.
The torn ACLs ended not only his 2009 season, but also 2010. Coming right back to him. DJ Yendry there to make the tackle, and we have a penalty marker raining in from the defensive backfield. Would be a gain of 4 if it stands.
Personal foul. Legal block below the waist on the offense, number 18. 15-yard penalty. Second down.
Number 18, the wide receiver, Aaron Burks.
And Aaron Burks is going to come in and actually block Johnny Fobbs, the TCU safety. And a new rule in college football this year, you can't cut block at that angle. You have to be in front of the defender in order to cut block him down the field as a wide receiver.
DJ Harper now 8 carries, 56 yards. And one of my questions coming into this game, knowing Doug Martin may miss some or all of this game, and again, we've not seen the normal starting tailback Doug Martin out with a foot injury. Could DJ Harper maintain that 5.1 yards per carry average as the starter? Well, right now, 8 carries, 56 yards, averaging 7. So he's answering that with an exclamation point so far through a quarter and 5 minutes. Kellen Moore fits it in between Greg McCoy and Johnny Fobbs to the big play wide receiver, Tyler Shoemaker. Gain of 19.
And that's what it's going to take today. Kellen Moore is going to have to play like a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. We know he's in the race. You've heard a lot about it, his ability. Great job of getting the edge clean for Kellen, and look at the ball placement. Underneath the safety, over top of the cornerback. Very few quarterbacks in college football can locate the football on the move like Kellen Moore.
Shoemaker averaging 18.2 yards per reception so far. Play action. Moore looking deep to Boldevine. Left it a little far inside. The Bronco faithful want to see the penalty flag for interference. No flag on the field.
And Kellen Moore took a shot right after he releases this football.
Kenny Kane in a big way.
Kenny Kane on a delayed linebacker blitz. He's going to allow that guard to shift out, and he's going to come right through the gap. And Chris Peterson can't like that. You don't want to see his all-star quarterback taking those kind of shots.
Kellen Moore, strong start, 10 out of 13, 101 yards and 1 touchdown. Setting up the screen to Burrows, and Tank Carter not fooled. Also not blocked, and that's a gain of 2.
With as much as TCU moves their defensive front, it makes the job of the linebacker that much more important for him to be able to fit properly. You see Tank Carter, you see Kenny Kane, they both scrape over the top. You're not going to see them really pull the trigger and hit the A-gaps too soon. Nice read here from Carter. Able to just undercut that block and make a one-on-one tackle.
That'll bring up 3rd down and 8. TCU rushes 4. Moore with time, little bit behind his brother Kirby Moore. He says, that's all right, I got you covered. I'll haul it in anyway. Gain of 15. Tackle made by Johnny Fobbs.
There's 2 different ways, guys, that you can pressure a quarterback. You can either pressure him physically or you can pressure him mentally. The physical pressure has been inconsistent. The mental pressure is so difficult to apply to Kellen Moore, even for a defense like TCU. Gary Patterson told us in the times he's played Kellen Moore over the years, only one time out of well over 100 snaps that he's faced this quarterback, one time Gary Patterson, one of the greatest defensive minds in college football, has been able to confuse him.
Well, a little confusing now as Moore is lined up as the wide receiver. DJ Harper takes the snap, fighting his way out to the 27-yard line. Harper taking the direct snap. That's a gain of 5. Tackle made by Karen Cuba.
Boise's version of the Wildcat. Again, they're going to continually put pressure on you as a defense to adjust to their personnel groups. Kellen Moore is all the way out here lined up as a receiver. I'm sure no one's worried about him running the takeoff, but what it does do is they've given the ball to Mitch Burrows a couple times. It creates a seam for DJ Harper to get a positive running play.
What's the Sean King School of Quarterbacking tell a quarterback to do when he's split out wide?
Don't move. Mark Sanchez will agree with me. Did you see Mark Sanchez? They split him out. Cornerback tried to take a shot at him, and he flinched.
Second down 4. Moore stepping up and firing. And you don't see that very often. Tyler Shoemaker was wide open.
And you said it perfectly,
Paul. Kyle Leafaw, the tight end, the intended receiver.
You said it perfectly, Paul. Very rarely does Kellen Moore miss a wide open wide receiver. Offensive line does a good job of keeping that pocket clean, and this is a throw that Kellen normally makes.
Kyle Leafaw has 10 career touchdown receptions. For a moment there, I'm sure he thought he had 11. It's coming right to him. This is the 10th play of the drive right now, 3rd down and 4. See, Kellen Moore wanted to get rid of that ball early. He thought he had some interference on his intended receiver, just fired it to the ground, and the flag did come in late.
I'll be interested to see if this is on Ross Forrest, one of the defensive linemen from TCU.
Holding on the defense, number 52. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Anthony, you had that one pegged.
Initially, he played it precisely how you teach a defensive lineman to play it. He got upfield, he smelled a rat, he planted that foot and got back downhill, but then he held the tailback once he sniffed out the screen.
And Ross Forrest, back in 2008, became just the first walk-on as a true freshman to play under Gary Patterson. Has since become a regular. Making his 5th consecutive start here today. DJ Harper fakes the reverse and finds his way to the end zone.
He who hesitates as a defender is lost. Trying to figure out with all the constant motion pre-snap in the back end for TCU, who's got the football? What pursuit angles do we take? And once you hesitate, DJ Harper has got the quicks to make you pay.
Breaks the tackle at Jason Verrett. Finds his way to the end zone from 17 yards out. Dan Goodale's extra point up and in. Kellen Moore has been solid. DJ Harper has been very good, replacing the starter Doug Martin, who's out with a foot injury, and we are all tied at 14. On January 2nd, we will officially become part of the NBC Sports family. Versus becomes NBC Sports Network, a new 24-hour sports network. NBC Sports Network is coming on January 2nd. Let's go down to the sideline now and check in with Anthony Herron.
Well, let's take a look at just looking forward to continuing to watch DJ Harper carry the football. This opportunity that he's been waiting on for several years now, battling back from multiple injuries. It's an amazing story to see the return he's been able to make.
Greg Mccoy going to bring it out. Penalty marker on the field as McCoy goes down to the 37.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 83. 10-yard penalties, 1st down.
All right, Anthony, go ahead and continue your thoughts there on DJ Harper.
Well, Paul, at 5'9" and just over 200 pounds, often you wouldn't see a tailback with the versatility of style that you get from a DJ Harper, because he is not afraid to run through contact, run to contact, and he's got the quicks, he's got the jets. He's been waiting on this opportunity, as we said, for a long time to return to being the main ball carrier in the Boise State offense, and he's got a nose for the goal line.
10 carries, 79 yards. So while Doug Martin watches with a foot injury, DJ Harper excels. Play action. Casey Paul Hall working the intermediate part of the field, wanted Sky Dawson. J.C. Percy there with the coverage as it falls incomplete.
A timing throw, a throw that you want to throw down the seam. Casey throws it just a little bit behind Sky Dawson. Sky Dawson's very scary in that slot. He was last year's Mountain West Conference 60-meter champion. A lot of speed and a lot of athleticism at the skill positions for this TCU offense. I'm interested because they've had some success throwing the football down the field that open up some lanes for their running game.
Second down, 10 now. The lone running back is Ed Wesley. Play action to Wesley, flips it out to Tucker. Well-designed play. Paul Hall puts it right on Tucker. He puts his head down and picks up 11.
So many dynamic playmakers. Ed Wesley gets the attention of the defense. Matthew Tucker is able to outflank Shea McClellan on that play. First down, TCU.
Matthew Tucker leading this team in carries with 97 coming into the game. First down reception there. It's first down and 10 from the 31. Ed Wesley trying to get around the corner, doesn't quite do so. Gain of 1. J.C. Percy, the linebacker, runs him out of bounds.
And this is a little of what you miss when you have Casey Paul Hall instead of Andy Dalton at quarterback. Boise's bringing a blitz off that edge. That play has no chance to be successful. Don't necessarily trust a young quarterback to audible out of that as you would with an Andy Dalton.
And the subtle aspect of what gets missed there is that the defense not right now honoring Casey Paul Hall as a ball carrier. The pursuit immediately going towards the running back.
Nice pocket there, and the touch down the sideline to Wayman James. Caught the football, but he did so out of bounds.
A little wheel route out of the backfield by Wayman James. They got the matchup that they wanted.
Close.
And that's about as close as it can get.
Well, if that play is not reviewed, we'll have third down and 10. Coming up for the TCU offense. The play is under review. Second play under review here this afternoon. Incomplete pass. And that'll bring up third down and 10.
And this is when Boise goes to this joker front. They stand up. Their NFL prospect, Shea McClellan, are circling right there. He's going to move around. And he does a lot of different things in this look, but at the end of the day, he's going to rush the passer.
Here comes McClellan. He's picked up. Paul Hall steps up in the pocket. This is Josh Boyce running free. Touchdown, TCU. .69 yards, Casey Paul Hall to Josh Boyce on 3rd and 10. Casey Paul Hall now has touchdown passes of 74 and 69 yards to Josh Boyce and 75 to Brandon Carter. Ross Evans just flat shanks that one. Straight pull to the left, and the lead remains at 6 for TCU, a 20-14.
And this was a great play call by TCU. They get their best wide out, Joyce Boss, matched up with Boise safety Lee Hightower, and that's a matchup that you love if you're on offense. Casey does a good job of putting air under the football, allowing their most dynamic wide out to catch his second long touchdown of the game, gives TCU a 20-14 lead with 6:34 to the half.
Casey Paul Hall with 3 touchdown passes. The Horned Frogs with a 6-point lead. Let's go to the sideline and check in with Anthony Herron.
And this is old goodie that you got from the old playbook. It's called double post. You get Josh Boyce matched up with Lee Hightower, who's filling in for Ebo McKinday, who left the game with an injury. Chris Peterson's going to have to find a schematic change that he likes because they're not capable of matching up on the edges man-to-man with these TCU wide receivers.
And Sean, you mentioned Ebo McKinday being out of the game. He will be reevaluated at halftime along with Jamar Taylor, the other starting corner from the Broncos.
Casey Paul Hall right now putting on a deep passing clinic, 8 for 12, which is very good at 75%. And how about 8 completions for 255 yards already? Mitch Burrows out to the 31-yard line. Let's check in now with Anthony Herron.
When you talk about pressuring a quarterback, and I told you, you can do it 2 ways, either mentally or physically. And the surprising thing so far in this game, the physical pressure hasn't been there, and it's allowed Casey Paul Hall to get as comfortable as you want to be as a young quarterback. This is the best defensive front he's faced. Some of the injuries on the backfield, they're able to take advantage of it. Paul and Sean, you guys touched on it early in the football game. He's got a strong arm. He's able to throw that deep ball, and they are featuring that almost exclusively here so far.
And one of the particulars of Casey Paul Hall's development that I think goes overlooked is the fact that he was able to be mentored by Andy Dalton. Actually got to sit with Dalton for 2 years, see him play, see how he handled different situations, experience his decision-making, and that's an invaluable asset as a young quarterback to have been able to learn under someone as successful as Andy Dalton was at TCU.
Injured Horned Frog, Antonio Graves. Good to see Antonio walk off the field. And to cap off what you said there, Sean, I think that Casey came in with a lot more experience than most sophomores. He graduated early high school, so he had 3 springs, 3 training camps heading into his first season as a starter. So awfully seasoned for just a sophomore. Kellen Moore gives to DJ Harper. Out to the 34-yard line. He thought he was not down. Do believe he was, and that's a gain of 3. DJ Harper and his success here through a quarter and a half been a real story already. That's Kenny Kane limping off the field for TCU. Starting tailback and the number 2 rusher in the Mountain West Conference, Doug Martin, out with a foot injury. And DJ Harper now 11 carries, 82 yards, and 1 touchdown. 3 steps in rhythm. Kellen Moore to Matt Miller. Gain of 8 and a Boise first down. That connection provided the first score of the day, 22 yards out. And that's good for a first down.
And this is a route that Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison got a lot of mileage on. It's called 82 Z dig. That outside receiver pushes up 5 yards and comes straight across.
DJ Harper with an alley. Gets into TCU territory, picks up 9 yards. Tackle finally made by Karen Cuba. And Chris Peterson's found something he likes a lot in this running game.
TCU moved their defensive front again, and we talk about the fits from the linebackers. So important. Tank Carter's the guy who he's more the thumper. He picks blocks off of the front, and it's important. We saw Kenny Kane limp off the field a moment ago. Now Chris Gardner in the lineup. He needs to be the guy that flows over the top.
Second down 1. DJ Harper motions himself back into the backfield. Kellen Moore sacked for the second time today. Stanley Mccoy now has 7 sacks. Came into this game as the #2 sacker in the Mountain West Conference.
And this is just a pure speed rush on Charles Leno Jr. Does a good job of getting to Kellen Moore. Good job by TCU in that secondary, taking away Kellen's first and second option, which gave Mccoy time to get to the Boise quarterback.
Guys, I love watching a young pass rusher continue to learn the game. He's getting a better feel for how to set up an offensive tackle. He's exclusively shown speed to Leno Jr. earlier. Now he showed him some power.
3 sacks coming into the game on Kellen Moore, been sacked twice already. Here comes the blitz. Moore with time. And leaves it a little bit too far in front of Matt Miller. Miller was open.
And that's the second uncharacteristic miss for Kellen Moore. He missed his tight end, Cal Efa, on a touchdown. He has the young receiver, Matt Miller, coming. Offensive line does a good job of creating a clean pocket, just a little too far inside on the throw.
Brad Elkin out to punt. 42-yard average so far this season. And back deep is Ed Wesley for TCU.
False start. The offense. Number 94. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
That's the second penalty today on Byron Holt. Remember, he was flagged for a 15-yard personal foul for face masking the quarterback earlier. Chris Peterson could not be happy. His team normally prides itself on being very disciplined and not having a lot of penalties.
Ed Wesley not going to get a chance to bring that one back. Brad Elkin continues his strong season. Came into this one 60% of his punts inside the 20. Has another one there. 3:47 left in the first half. TCU by 6. Casey Paul Hall's Horned Frogs up 20-14, and he has 3 touchdown passes and 255 yards passing already.
And we talked about that mentorship, Casey being able to learn under Andy Dalton for 2 years. He definitely paid attention and he's applied himself, came into the game, 19 touchdowns, has thrown 3 to take that season total all the way up to 22.
74 yards to Josh Boyce. Another 169 yards to Boyce and 75 yards to Brandon Carter. TCU only 1 yard rushing so far today. Boise State defense there strong. Once again, that's a gain of only 4.
We came into the game understanding that Casey is a big quarterback. He has great size. He can sit in the pocket. He has the arm strength to push the football vertically down the field. 68% completions coming in, so he has the accuracy. He's done a good job of identifying where to go with the football and throwing easy, catchable footballs that these dynamic playmakers can do something with after the catch.
2nd down 6. The lone running back behind Casey Paul Hall in the shotgun is Ed Wesley. Fake to Wesley. Forced to leave the pocket. There's Casey Paul Hall running and sliding just across the 25-yard line. Gain of 6. Just enough for a TCU first down.
I like it, guys. I like it. When you're that big, you're that athletic, when that clock goes off in your head that it might be time to flee the pocket, you've got to be able to flee the pocket. It gives the defense something additional to think about. This is the continued growth of a young quarterback that we're seeing here.
And I think that's where Casey can use his athleticism. He's not a runner with a lot of wiggle, so I wouldn't call as many running plays for him as they do. I'd let him create and extend plays with his feet.
There's Ed Wesley trying to extend that one with his feet. Chase Baker there with a tackle. Wesley picks up 3. TCU already leading by 6 here, Sean, with a chance. Clock ticking now as we approach 2 minutes to make it a 2-possession game.
And if they can do that, you know, they won the coin toss and deferred, so they get the football also first in the second half.
Ball Hall, play action, rolling to his right. Sky Dawson caught that one a couple times. And the final time, Sean, he caught it while he was still in bounds.
And I love the way Casey went through his progressions. His initial read is going to be the back in the flat. Boise converges on that. He finds Sky Dawson. I really like the way he seems to have a command of where everyone is on the field. He understands how to operate within the scheme of what they're trying to do offensively at TCU.
TCU Horned Frogs leading with the pass here today at number 5 and unbeaten Boise State. And Casey Paul Hall up for that challenge. Gives to James here, fighting off tackles as he works his way to the right side, gains only 2. Coming up on the Geico halftime report, we'll get the latest from Penn State from NBC News. Also, Liam McCoy, Doug Flutie, and Roland Williams will get you caught up on all the college football scores and highlights. Plus a preview of tonight's showdown at FedEx Field between Maryland and Notre Dame, a game you can watch on NBC.
And TCU does not seem to be any rush. The clock is under 1 minute. You'd anticipate they would go in some kind of 2-minute mode after this play.
Paul Hall forces that one into Josh Boyce. Paul Hall to Boyce for a gain of 3.
And there's no sense of urgency right now on offense for TCU. I don't really understand this. And now Gary Patterson calls a timeout. Probably let about 15 seconds run off the clock.
Charge in the first half, 30-second timeout.
Seems, Sean, that the Horned Frogs indecisive there offensively on the field and also on the sideline if they want to let the clock run out or truly try and take advantage of this scoring opportunity.
I think against a team like Boise with a quarterback like Kellen Moore, you have to be aggressive. No lead is safe. You have to continue to apply pressure to that Boise secondary.
The NHL on Versus continues. Monday at 6:30 Eastern, the Sabres clash with the Canadiens. Then Tuesday, the Avalanche head to Pittsburgh to take on the Penguins. Hockey is here on Versus. Well, so far, the deep passing game, the story in this game, and the story provided by Casey Paul Hall and the Horned Frog offense. 2 touchdown passes to Josh Boyce. And 1 to Brandon Carter. TCU leads by 6, 31 seconds left. Boise with the safety blitz. Paul Hall underneath. Sky Dawson almost put that ball on the turf. Picks up a TCU first down, gain of 8.
Second charge of the first half, 30-second timeout.
All right, Sean, 23 seconds remaining. You're now just barely inside the Boise State territory. You call another timeout as we take a look at the completion to Sky Dawson. What are your thoughts here offensively if you're calling the plays for TCU?
Well, I think you can take some shots because you have matchup advantages across the board. I would try and put Sky Dawson and Josh Boyce on the same side. Let Sky Dawson occupy the safety in the slot and try and get Josh matched up outside on some kind of one-on-one route down the field.
Casey Paul Hall kind of limping off the field. After that play, he is now jogging back into the huddle. First down and 10 from the Bronco 49. Empty backfield for Paul Hall. Steps into the pocket and fires, and a catchable football for Sky Dawson. Can't come down with it. 18 seconds remaining.
And it's ironic they did what I suggested and put Sky and Josh to the same side. I think Casey was actually throwing this ball behind Sky to Josh, who's coming in. Sky gets turned around a little bit and actually gets in the way of where the throw was actually intended.
1 timeout remaining here. And if the Horned Frogs do get into field goal territory, it's a good thing because Ross Evans connected on his last 8 field goals after starting the season 3 out of 6. Broncos blitz. Paul Hall beats it. Ed Wesley out of the backfield to the 39-yard line, right at the first down marker, a gain of 10.
Timeout, TCU. 3rd and final of the first half, 30-second timeout.
TCU offense did a nice job of picking up that blitz. Casey was pretty calm in the pocket.
You know, you look at the poise, a young quarterback, doesn't panic under the blitz, understands that Ed Wesley's coming out of the backfield on that check down route. Ed Wesley has to do a better job right there, getting north and south and picking up that first down where the clock starts automatically and they can spike it and save that last time out.
TCU's almost getting into the danger zone here, guys. All their touchdowns have been of the 60 and 70-yard variety. If they get too close to the end zone, they may not score.
So no timeouts left, Anthony and Sean. 10 seconds left. Obviously can't kick a field goal from here. Got to keep this one toward the sideline or just take a shot at the end zone.
One or the other. I try, if you can find a way to pick up 11, 12 yards on a dig route, you could potentially spike it and have 1 or 2 seconds left.
Broncos rush 3. Ball hall flushed out of the pocket and just gets rid of it. And now 4 seconds remaining in the first half.
Big number 99, Mike Atkinson. He just wreaked havoc on the interior of the TCU offensive line. More snaps today from Atkinson inside because Billy Wynn has yet to step onto the field as I've seen so far. But when you go with 3-man pressure and you're able to get heat that quickly on the quarterback, especially from right there inside at the nose position, it messes up the entire rest of the play for an offense.
Paul Hall just goes down there. Runs into Matthew Tucker in the backfield. Frustrating final play for Casey Paul Hall, but what a first half. Touchdown passes 3 times. As TCU leads 20-14, first time Boise State has trailed at halftime all season. We send you now to our New York studios. Moments away from the start of the third quarter, TCU leading 5th-ranked Boise State 20-14. On the sidelines is where we find Anthony Herron and Gary Patterson.
Gary, you guys averaged 72 yards per touchdown pass in that first half. How are you able to be so effective with the deep ball?
Well, we've done play action. Sometimes you just get lucky with it, but we thought we could do some movement, stutter and goes, and do some things where we could get them to stop their feet. A couple slant goes, and we were able to do that so far.
On the ground, they were able to be effective with DJ Harper. How do you show up that ground attack?
You got to tackle. We let 3 big runs out because we didn't tackle. We just got to play, and you know, when you come to Boise, you got to go take the ball game. So we got 30 minutes to go win a ball game.
Great game so far, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Paul.
Anthony, Coach, thank you very much. And Boise State trailing at halftime doesn't happen very often. In fact, the last time the Broncos were down after quarters 1 and 2, December of '07 against East Carolina.
There's no quit in this Boise team. The one thing I do know, 20 will not be enough for this TCU team to pull the upset today. They're going to have to come out this second half and be just as aggressive as they were in the first half.
We'll see what streaks live there live here in the second half. Boise State 35 consecutive wins at home. TCU 21 consecutive conference wins and 11 consecutive on the road. Greg Mccoy from his own 9. Greg Mccoy weaving his way out to the 38-yard line. Nice piece of returning by the man who leads the Mountain West Conference in return average at 29.1. Let's check out the Foster's first half stats. And the turnover won by Boise State was a big one. Broncos came into this game with the fewest turnovers in the Mountain West Conference. TCU taking advantage with the touchdown and the missed extra point off that turnover. And the Horned Frogs leading by that 6 at 20-14.
Coming into the game, if you would have told me TCU would have the lead after only rushing for 12 rushing yards, I would not have believed you.
Broncos with a blitz on the first play, causing the fumble. Recovering is Tyrone Crawford. In for the score. First play from scrimmage in the second half, fumble. Tyrone Crawford, 32 yards later, has 6.
And that senior wide receiver, Antone Hicks, he does not make a lot of mistakes. Normally is Mr. Reliable, but a terrible error, terrible way to start the second half for TCU.
Extra point good by Dan Goodale. And just like that, huge play from the Bronco defense. And Boise State leads by 1.
And all this is, Paul, is just a power sweep. They're going to try and run it with the wide receiver. Boise gets penetration. Byron Hope, who's had a couple penalties go against him, causes the fumble. Tyrone Crawford picks it up. Touchdown, Boise State. Just like that, this game changed.
Tyrone Crawford came into this game leading the team in tackles for loss and sacks. This doesn't count as either one of those, but maybe his biggest play of the season so far. That tied the game at 20. Extra point makes it 21-20. Gotta love how the Broncos come out aggressive with the linebacker blitz on the first play, causing that fumble, and Tyrone Crawford, the man on the spot.
Well, to beat a team like Boise on the road, they never lose here at home. You're going to have to beat them. They're not going to give you the game. They're going to keep fighting. They're a tough, they're a gritty team. If TCU wants to pull the upset today, they're going to have to earn it.
And a good theme continues for Tyrone Crawford and the Boise State Broncos over the last 5 games, outscoring opponents now 72-3 in the third quarter, winning 7-0 in this third quarter. Here's Greg Mccoy from 4 yards deep, going to take a knee. And Casey Paulhall will come out and try this again from the 20, this time though trailing by 1.
You'd certainly guess at the last words out of Chris Peterson's mouth in the locker room, where we're going to reestablish momentum. You referenced the blitz call on the first play from scrimmage of the third quarter, Paul. Boise State not a big blitz team, using the secondary much more in that package today. The pendulum of momentum is swung here, and Bronco Stadium's alive.
No flag on the play. Please reset the game clock to 25 seconds.
And we'll see if the TCU offense can lean a little bit more on the run game. In that first half, 286 passing yards and only 12 rushing yards. Coming into this one, only 32 yards separated the rush and the pass for the entire season. But pass heavy in the first. Back to the run. And Wesley right down to the turf. Jonathan Brown from his nickel spot for a loss of 3.
And this is one of the negatives and downfalls of having a young quarterback. This play has absolutely no chance of being successful. Boise has 9 guys in the box. When they give you that look defensively, you're going to have to check out of it and throw the football. You're not going to run it when they have all those guys in the box.
Horned Frogs run 2 plays of offense here in the third quarter. One, a fumble that led to a touchdown from Tyrone Crawford from 32 yards out. The other, a loss of 3. Paulhall to his right, incomplete. And it'll be third down 13.
The interior of the offensive line from TCU continuing to struggle now. And remember, Billy Wynn has yet to enter the game with Mike Atkinson, Chase Baker. These guys are applying pressure on the pocket. And when you get it right in your face, you can speak to this, Sean. It's so different when you get that pressure coming right in your face immediately at the snap of the football.
You know, Anthony, the pressure never bothered me.
As he says with a smile. Third and 13. Screen pass to Raymond James, breaks a tackle, and that'll be a TCU first down. What a play call, and love the acceleration from James there at the end of that run for a gain of 22.
You mentioned it, Paul. That's a great play call, 3rd and long. Anthony alluded to it. That front has been getting up the field. The best way to negate those defensive linemen from coming up the field is to slip that little slow screen to your tailback right behind him. Good job by TCU.
Raymond James with the 8.5-yard per attempt on the ground coming into this one. That's a huge pass play to set up 1st and 10. Boise State defense in the backfield once again. Chase Baker leading the way. Just a gain of 1.
TCU, that offensive front, Paul, has done a good job of pass protecting, but they have been dominated in the run game. They've been able to get nothing going. They're not getting any movement. They're being out-physical right now up front. And I know Gary Patterson has to be disappointed in that.
In that first half, Sean, 13 carries for only 12 yards. Keep in mind it would have been a little bit more. They lost 21 on that recovered fumble, but still, your point is right on. Boise State defense shutting down this run game so far. Fakes to Wesley, keeps it himself. Fumble! And Wesley comes back up with it in a roundabout kind of way. Got the third player to have his hands on the football in that play.
And this is just bad ball security. Casey Paul has to know, as a quarterback, when you get up and things are tight, you have to make sure you secure that football. Good job by Ed Wesley of paying attention and regaining possession for the TCU Horned Frogs.
And Tyrone Crawford, just moments after scoring the 32-yard touchdown on the fumble recovery, causes that fumble. TCU recovers and now facing third down and 8. 4 out of 6 converting third down in the first half. Ball haul to Boyce, incomplete. And that's the point of the field there where the shadow meets the daylight. It looks like maybe he didn't pick that up till it got right to him.
Looks like he lost sight of the football because he's open and Casey makes a good throw. Actually fits the ball in a tight window. Very accurate throw. It's actually deflected by the Boise defender, and that's what caused the confusion for Josh Boyce.
Hanson Kelton on the punt. Chris Potter back deep to receive. From his own 24. Chris Potter. He is struck by Greg Burks. Big special teams hit. Bronco offense. On offense for the very first time in the second half. The defense already scored a touchdown. We'll see if Kellen Moore can do the same with Boise State leading by 1. Notre Dame, 7:30 Eastern on Notre Dame. In the meantime, we've got a great one here in Boise. TCU led 20-14 at halftime. Very first play, Tyrone Crawford recovers a fumble, runs it back for a touchdown. Boise State leads 21-20. Kellen Moore with his first opportunity here in the second half. DJ Harper motions out of the backfield. Horned Frogs bring 6. Matt Miller. Kellen Moore saw the blitz off the back foot. Little flick to Miller, 7-yard gain. And as Gary Patterson told us, the 2 previous games against Kellen Moore, 120 plays. I fooled him once. Didn't look anywhere near full there as they brought 2 extra rushers.
He saw what the blitz was. He redirected the pass protection, understood that Matt Miller would be open, coming on the little underneath route with the pick. Good job by the Boise quarterback.
DJ Harper, close to a first down, gain of 2. Tackle made by Kenny Kane and also Tank Carter. I had Tank Carter described to me in a pretty interesting way a little earlier this season, Sean. Someone who watches film for a living said, you know, he's not a great athlete, but he's so instinctive on film, he looks athletic.
He does, and he does a good job of finding the football. They talk about in this cliche, linebackers having a nose for the ball. He fits that bill.
3rd down and 1. DJ Harper gets that one and then some. Into Horned Frog territory, gain of 14. A tackle made by Greg McCoy.
Gary Patterson talked about Anthony Herron right after the half and said missed tackles. Johnny Fobbs, the safeties, in the hole, has a chance to make the play. DJ Harper is doing an outstanding job today of not being brought down on first contact. All of his big runs are because he's been able to get away from the first and initial TCU defender.
From down here at field level, I can really appreciate the way DJ Harper runs behind his pads. For not being a big guy, he's got some good forward lean to him, and you see as he's coming out of contact, those high knees keep turning.
Second game in a row now, over 100 yards, 103 after 109 last week at UNLV. Kellen Moore moving that pocket, driving the ball to Gerardo Boldevine. Tackle made by Greg McCoy, and that's a gain of 8. Today's K Jewelers go-to guy. Any guess there, Sean, who that might be? the all-time winningest quarterback in college football history, 46 wins. As you admire what he's done there, also know that 74% coming into this game this season, best in the nation. Second down, 2. Harper off the right side, nothing going, and the TCU defense there strong. Loss of 1. Anthony, I want to come right back to you. You just described DJ Harper in a way I hear running backs described a lot. I'd like to hear you take it and run with it. He runs well behind his pads. What exactly does that mean?
Especially for a guy with a low center of gravity. He's in that 5'8", 5'9" range. To have that forward lean as a ball carrier, where anytime you make contact with a tackler, you're going to go forward because you've got that forward lean, because you're running behind your pads, as they say. That's what you like to see from a guy of his stature.
He is the lone running back in the backfield with Kellen Moore to his right. On 3rd and 4. Jason Verrett there with a tight coverage, sneaks a hand in there, no flag down. Good piece of defense there by the sophomore corner.
I'm enjoying the chess match right now between Stanley Mpunga and Charles Leno Jr. on the left edge. You're going to see some power coming, and Mpunga's only about 260 pounds, but it's a change-up again, and Kellen Moore can't quite step into the pass in the way that he wants to, has to flick it sidearm.
And Boise State right now facing 4th down and 4, going to go for it on this day, 1 for 1 on 4th down. Moore to the air and firing a strike. Matt Miller. All right, Chris Peterson told us yesterday, Kellen's going to have to make some tight throws. Our receivers are going to have to make catches in tight coverage. There's a great example.
And people question Kellen's arm strength, but this right here, I mean, this ball is thrown with velocity. It's thrown with a perfect location. Great job by Greg McCoy in the coverage, but a great throw always beats great coverage.
I know Kellen Moore has a reputation as a quarterback without a great arm, but he drove that ball in there very well. Look at that formation, bunched out to the left. DJ Harper going nowhere. DJ Yendry from his defensive lineman spot. Out there with the tackle, and that's no gain. Matt Miller, the man who caught that 4th down pass, picked up the 1st down, now has 6 catches today. One of those, 22-yard touchdown to get the scoring started here today. Freshman out of Montana, lost last year, his true freshman season, to a torn Achilles. Leading the team in receptions today and also on the season. Kellen Moore firing downfield, Geraldo Boldevine. Had to slow himself down a bit, but he was so wide open it didn't matter. Kellen Moore, Geraldo Boldevine, 27 yards.
And Kellen had his choice. There were 2 Boise wide receivers in the vicinity, and they were both open. Geraldo Boldevine is a guy that's a different body type than all the rest of these wide receivers. They've really been waiting for him to develop and become a significant part of this offense. We may be seeing that today.
1st down and goal. DJ Harper, the tailback behind Moore. Harper with the ball, and Harper with a touchdown. DJ Harper has 2 touchdowns today, and the Broncos now have a 7-point lead.
And Paul, that's just old-fashioned, hard-nosed football. That's the power play. That's lining up. That's saying our guys are tougher. They're better than your guys. DJ Harper is having an outstanding performance as he fills in for Boise's normal starting running back, Doug Martin. You see, this is downhill football at its best.
Kellen Moore, 5 out of 6 on the drive, a drive that ends with a DJ Harper touchdown. It's 28-20. At halftime, it was 20-14 TCU. Defensive touchdown, rushing touchdown, and Boise State back in control.
And Paul, that's what good teams do. Good teams play 4 quarters. If you want to pull the upset, if you want to be the first team in a long time to get a win here in Boise, you're going to have to earn it. Great halftime adjustments by Chris Peterson. This looks like a different ball club than we saw in the first half.
Sky Dawson back deep to receive. Dawson from his own 5. 2 penalty markers down on the near side of the field.
Return. Legal hands to the face, receiving team number 40. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And number 40 is Greg Burks, linebacker for Gary Patterson's Horned Frogs. So this will be TCU's 3rd possession here of the second half. Very first play, fumble. Tyrone Crawford scoops it up, goes 32 yards for the score. And you got to think the TCU or the Boise State defense, number 1 in the Mountain West Conference scoring D, number 1 total D, had that pride hurt in the first half. 3 long touchdowns from Casey Paul. Got to think they were challenged in a big way at halftime, and so far they've responded. Here they are now leading by 8. And Wesley off the right side. Hightower there. Byron Hout there, gain of 6. I would have said coming into this game that the running game led by the trio of Ed Wesley and Matthew Tucker, Wayman James, the strength of this TCU offense, but been pretty quiet so far.
And I think for them to have a chance in the second half to put some points up, they're going to have to establish this running game. Good run by Ed Wesley.
Second down 4. Paul Hall going to keep it himself. Can't get to the outside. Hunter White, the nickelback, throws him for a loss of 2.
And evaluating this TCU offense on film, this is one of the components that I disagree with Gary Patterson and his staff. Casey Paul is not an elusive runner that can make people miss. I don't know why they designed quarterback runs for him. Throw the football, if things break down, he's better making things up and creating plays with his feet.
And Sean, he's been awfully good on 3rd down here today. 5 out of 8. Horned Frogs have converted 5 of 8 3rd down situations into first downs. Josh Boyce underthrown and interfered with. 1, 2, 3. Penalty markers come raining in. Lee Hightower is number 29.
Pass interference on a defense number 29. 15-yard penalty. First down.
And if you're TCU, I know you want to establish the run, but Lee Hightower is a safety for Boise State. There's no way that he can line up and cover Josh Boyce one-on-one. This is a huge matchup advantage. Josh does a good job of trying to come back to the football, and that's going to be defensive pass interference every time.
Lee Hightower, a freshman, playing mostly because prowess on special teams, but playing as a defensive back here today.
And in Lee's defense, he's a safety. He's not a corner, so he's being asked to do something that he normally does not have to do.
Casey Paul Hall, 307 yards passing already. Look at that pocket. Stepping in, and Josh Boyce, Wayman James, number 32. Well, at least he caught it, Sean. Gain of 36.
And tremendous job by the TCU offensive line. If you're going to see, this is as clean as it gets. This is almost like routes on air. Very disappointed, actually, in Casey on this throw. If he makes that an easier throw, that's a touchdown for Wayman James.
Casey Paul Hall said, Wayman James against linebacker Byron Howard will take that every single time. Wayman James now back to the running game, picks up 3 yards.
And this is the dilemma Boise has defensively. Chris Peterson would like to bring more pressure, would like to play a lot more man-to-man, but they're down corners. They can't match up. So the opposite is only rush 3, but now Casey has a lot of time to sit back and really find the open wide receiver.
TCU offensive line doing a nice job of keeping Casey Paul Hall upright, giving him plenty of time to find those open receivers.
And Billy Wynn has reported into the game, guys. He's got the left 3 technique over the right guard.
Paul Hall steps and fires. Overthrows. Could have been a flag. No flag at all. Josh Boyce would like one, but that's just an incomplete pass.
They talked to us about the foot injury that Billy Wynn had suffered. It's the first time I've seen him consecutive snaps in the ball game today.
Did have the penalty there go against TCU. Ineligible receiver downfield on TCU, and it'll now be second down 12.
And we're seeing a lot of these now. Second and long, third and long, behind the chains. Casey Paul Hall's performed well today, but this puts a lot of pressure on a quarterback still learning the game.
Watch Raymond James out the backfield. He's matched up with Byron Hope one-on-one.
James stays in the block, and Paul Hall fires a strike. Brandon Carter, the freshman wide receiver, for a gain of 16.
This was a very impressive throw by the sophomore quarterback. We mentioned earlier that he has poise. He's a big quarterback. Watch him stand right there in the pocket. He knows that that's a tight window, but that's a big-time throw from this young quarterback. In a pressure-packed situation, you come out, they get a defensive touchdown, they drive right down the field. Pretty impressive drive right now by TCU.
And that was with anticipation, with velocity, fitting it between two linebackers and right in front of a safety. Leads the first down and 10 from the 18. The Horned Frogs trying to come back after leading 20-14 at halftime. This is Matthew Tucker trying to cut it back. Cedric Fabus, the safety, stops him for a gain of 1.
And I understand that running the football is a mindset, but I'm going to repeat again, Paul. They have no chance when they go to their regular personnel. And Boise has 9 people in the box. They're outnumbered. They have to get out of those running plays or either spread Boise out if they want to run the football.
9 people in the box. I wonder, Casey Paul Hall playing well, but just a sophomore, if he has enough trust to get the green light to check out of that into a pass down the sideline. Second down 9. Linebacker blitz. Paul Hall rolling to his right and firing to Luke Shivers, the fullback. Horned Frog first down.
Luke Shivers is a converted linebacker, came to TCU on the defensive side of the ball. They asked him to move the football, move to fullback. He doesn't get it a lot, but when he gets it, he does things with it. 12 touchdowns on only 28 career receptions.
And Brandon Carter also open, wide open. He said, I already have 1 touchdown today. I could have had an easy second.
And I've been waiting for this package. Matt Brown is the quarterback that they like to run the football with. So this is a package that I knew we'd see when we got in a goal line situation.
Gary Patterson's Horned Frogs on the move. 2:51 left, trailing 28-20. Got a good one here in Boise.
Looks like they're putting Paul Hall back in. Oh, they're putting them both in. Got Brown in. Okay, Brown's in. Yep, Paul Hall back in the game.
They're going to send Casey out there. I wouldn't be surprised if they run a play with him and then go Matt.
Yeah, first down, you got some downs to work with here.
TCU Horned Frogs, after leading 20-14, trailing 28-20. It was a 6-point deficit at halftime. Casey Paul Hall has the Horned Frogs on the move now on the 5-yard line. It'll be first down from the 5. Paul Hall on this drive, 3 out of 3, 63 yards. First time in the red zone today. It's been a big play scoring attack for TCU so far. 3 touchdown passes, all over 69 yards. 74 and 69 to Josh Boyce, and 75 to the true freshman Brandon Carter. Raymond James and Matthew Tucker in the backfield. This is Raymond James to the 2-yard line. Tackle made by Cedric Fabus. That's a gain of 3.
And Paul, that wasn't a tackle, that was a hit. The Boise safety came up and delivered the hammer. And I'm very surprised that they decided to run between the tackles because TCU has not had any success. You see, Wayman thinks he's there. Good hit by the safety, Cedric Favors.
Luke Shivers in at fullback, and he has Mr. Touchdown inside the 5-yard line. Couple that with the fact that Casey Paul Hall's had a lot of success rolling out to his right and left throwing the football. And don't forget about number 48. Off his back foot. Josh Boyce, did he catch it? Yes, he did.
We've talked about the location of the passes from Kellen Moore, but how about this? Falling back, Casey Paul Hall off his back foot with a defender over the top, throwing the ball down into the dirt, and his receiver, Josh Boyce, going down and getting it.
And Josh Boyce proving today he can score all kinds of touchdowns. 74 yards, 69 yards, and then 2 yards without a helmet.
That was an unbelievable catch on a ball that was a little inaccurate because of how low it was. And I don't like this right here, Paul. I don't believe in chasing points until you get at least into the fourth quarter. But TCU's going to go for 2.
Well, Ross Evans earlier in the game just flat pulled an extra point to his left and missed it. Otherwise, an extra point would tie this one. Take a close look at this catch. Did he actually catch the ball?
Excuse me, the play clock to 25 seconds. TCU is requested on the 2-point try to put the ball in the middle, which they are allowed to do.
He is ruled a touchdown catch from Paul Hall to Boyce. And we proceed with the 2-point attempt.
I just think it's too early in the game to be trying to go for 2. It's the third quarter. I just kicked the extra point.
Casey Paul Hall can keep it himself, but can he get there? Just barely. Casey Paul Hall in for 2. That could potentially be worth a second look there, Sean.
It's very close, but good job by Casey Paul Hall of understanding where that goal line was and reaching the football out. I still disagree with the call.
And I was standing right behind Ross Evans, Sean. He was ready. A little Horned Frog kicker. He wanted to get on the field.
This is where being 6'5" helps.
You say that like you're envious, Sean.
I am. He's able to extend that football. If I would have done that at 6 foot, I would have ended up somewhere on the 2-yard line.
You might have been a little bit faster, though.
Had a better haircut.
Tulane didn't fit the side of your head, huh? We are all tied at 28. 2:01 left in the third quarter.
This is the kind of game that can catapult a player that's young like Casey, who's just been good, not great, into becoming the next superstar at the position for TCU.
Mitch Burrows out to the 27-yard line. Late flag comes raining in at the 40-yard line. That was Dallas Burrows, brother of Mitch Burrows.
During the return, holding receiving team number 24. 10-yard penalty. First down.
And Paul, you talk about an impressive drive. Casey Paul Hall, the sophomore quarterback, just really engineered a really good drive. He understood the matchup, had an advantage with his wide receiver, threw a catchable ball. Now watch here on the touchdown, kind of falls off balance a little bit. You don't like to see that, but gets the job done. Wide receiver Josh Boyce bails him out.
And then Casey Paul Hall, as Sean pointed out, using all of that 6'5" body to get in for the 2-point conversion, and we are all tied at 28. DJ Harper going nowhere. Devin Johnson up from his safety spot, gain of 2. Johnny Fobbs also there with the tackle.
And Paul, TCU is really starting to commit those safeties to help in the run game. I'm sure sometime very shortly, Kellen Moore is going to fake that handoff to DJ Harper and try and get over the top of this TCU defense with one of his wideouts.
DJ Harper, 17 carries, 110 yards, and a couple of rushing touchdowns. Filling in very well for Doug Martin, the second leading rusher in the conference, who's out with a foot injury. This is Matt Miller. Number 2 against number 2. Miller with the catch, and then Jason Verrett with the tackle. Gain of 8.
Nice little play by Boise. A little quick screen to that wide out who they motion out. And all this does, you know, Anthony talked about the chess match going on today. This just forces that defense to continue to have to defend horizontally so that they can get that downhill vertical running game going.
Here's more of the run game. DJ Harper. Good tackle by Karen Cuba from the safety spot. Gain of 5. One note on Kellen Moore. 19 out of 25. 186 yards. He's in 7th place all time for career passing yards, just past Colt McCoy.
If you see these Boise big guys, you see them, they're finishing their blocks. They've got these TCU defensive linemen 4 or 5 yards down the field. They're really dominating the line of scrimmage.
Saw right there why Karen Cuba leads this team in tackles. Good job in the open field against a hot running back. Here's Matt Miller once again. Tank Carter lets him get by. David Johnson, defensive lineman there, and that's a gain of 3. Third quarter going to come to a close here with that play. And I like quarters 1, 2, and 3 there, Sean. Here's to hope that the fourth quarter lives up to what we saw in 1, 2, and 3. We are all tied at 28 as TCU and Boise State battle for the right to be called best in the Mountain West. The fourth quarter is moments away.
And this fourth quarter has got to be Kellen Moore time.
See Kellen smiling there before the first play of the fourth quarter. Here comes the blitz. Going back across his body, late flag in. Maybe a little two-sided coverage provided by Greg McCoy, number 7.
Holding on the defense, number 7. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Bit of a dangerous pass, thrown back across your body, but all works out when you get the flag going your way, and it'll be first down once again.
And Greg McCoy struggled a bit at times this season, the DB from TCU, but I believe he's overall played pretty well today. He's been in position, but you're facing a quarterback who Kellen Moore, who can put the ball in spots where it doesn't matter where the coverage is.
I would say so. 48 starts, never had a game where he completed less than 50% of his passes. Play action here. Nice pocket to step into. And Dallas Burrows with a step and the 6.
I mentioned it earlier, Paul. I told you those TCU safeties were getting really involved in the first down running game of Boise State. That play action pass was coming. Anthony just talked about how Greg McCoy has improved defending the deep ball. Didn't do a good job that time. Lost track of the football and of the wide receiver.
Dan Goodale on to make it a 7-point Boise State lead. And the Broncos lead 35-28. Kellen Moore says to Casey Paul Hall, "You're not the only quarterback who can strike from long range." Good pocket and the launch. Anthony just pointed out he can put it right where he wants to put it. How about between the 8 and the 1 for a huge Boise State touchdown? The Broncos by 7. Most recent touchdown, the long ball. Cranked it up and let it go. 54-yard score to Dallas Burrows. Now we get to watch Casey Paul Hall and the TCU offense play from behind. Wayman James just across the 30-yard line.
Boise has been very successful running the football out of this formation. Do a good job of play action. You get Dallas Burrows matched up against Greg McCoy. I have no idea what kind of technique Greg McCoy, the corner from TCU, is using. Looks back for the football, loses sight of it. And Kellen gave it everything he had. That's about as far as he can throw it, but it was far enough. Way to answer a very impressive TCU drive. And this is what you want to see from a quarterback who a lot of people have on the short list for this year's Heisman Trophy.
Casey Paul Hall been very good so far today, over 300 yards. Looking for the run game to help. This is Ed Wesley. Nothing going up the middle, bounces it out to the left side and picks up 9 yards. Tackle made by George Iloka.
I believe it's got to happen. I believe the run game has to come alive to some degree here in the fourth quarter for TCU.
Tyrone Crawford, star defensive end for the Broncos. 32-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown to start out the second half here. Also leads the team in sacks and tackles for loss, hobbling off the field. Bronco faithful would love to see him back here. 14:32 and counting left in the fourth quarter.
Crawford left the lineup earlier in the game as well, hopping off the field. He was able to return to action soon thereafter.
TCU run game struggling so far. 23 carries for only 25 total yards. Wesley just enough for a first down. Ball's out. And Logan Brock recovered. It is ruled down, though, prior to the ball coming out.
Ed Wesley's taken a few hits in his day, but not sure if he was quite ready for the impact that he felt on that one. Ball's been on the ground several times here in the second half. Some of the big playmakers penetrating into the backfield and some of the more aggressive play calls that have come from this Boise State defensive coaching staff. All those guys in orange jerseys rattling to the football, swarming to the man with that Wilson in his hand.
Boise State comes with a blitz. Off his back foot, Casey Paul Hall fires to Brandon Carter, incomplete. To bring up second down 10.
Pete Kwiatkowski called that corner cat that he got burned on earlier. He went back to it. This time, TCU did not do a good job of preventing the penetration. Casey didn't have a comfortable pocket, had to leave the pocket, couldn't get enough on the throw to make an accurate pass to Brandon Carter.
And I asked TCU quarterback coach Justin Fuente earlier this week to compare Andy Dalton to Casey Paul Hall. Said Andy was much more pragmatic. Casey more of a natural passer. Don't trust him enough yet, or as much as I trusted Andy Dalton, but off to a heck of a start earning that trust. Casey firing to Antoine Hicks. You put it on your receiver that far downfield on his numbers, people start to trust you.
And this is a very impressive throw. Shea McClellan hits Casey just as he releases the football, but that's as good as you can throw that inside seam route to that wide receiver.
25-yard gain. Paul Hall to Hicks, back to the running game, and again the Boise State defense there to stop it, gain of 2.
I'll tell you what, guys, this is as good as advertised down here at field level. You referenced Shea McClellan on that last snap, beats 2 people. Running back tried to chip him. A young quarterback like Casey Paul Hall standing in the pocket, delivering the football. Coverage from young safeties here from Boise in the game. Every bit of drama we could have hoped for is taking place in Bronco Stadium.
Second down 8, Ed Wesley motions out of the backfield.
False start on the offense, number 78. Their penalty.
Number 78 for the Horned Frogs, Robert Deck. Just a couple of weeks prior to camp, he was a tight end. Moved him to left tackle, didn't work there, moved him back to the right side, and he's found a home. That's TCU's 9th penalty this afternoon.
He actually came to TCU, Paul, as a walk-on.
Faking the option, popping back up, wants to fire, does so to Ed Wesley. Intercepted. Lee Hightower. Came down the line of scrimmage, popped back up, way underthrown. Lee Hightower there.
And you get upset with quarterbacks for different things. Sometimes it's a decision, not in this case. It was the throw. We actually had Ed Wesley. That's a football. You have to put air on, throw to that back pylon.
Boise State defense already scored in the second half, now producing an interception. The Broncos lead by 7. 35-28, and Casey Paul 4 touchdown passes today, but Sean, now he has 1 interception.
Good decision, but bad throw. Young quarterbacks don't understand you have to have different trajectory with different throws. This is a finesse pass if thrown to the back of the end zone would have been a touchdown for TCU.
Boise State back to the run game. DJ Harper fighting to get his way back to the line of scrimmage. A loss of 1, tackle made by Ross Forrest. Casey Paul ought to have confidence in spite of that last interception. 397 yards today, 4 touchdowns.
And he'll learn off of that. That's one of those throws you rep it in practice and you throw it a certain way because you get a coverage. You have to be able to adjust on game day if it's a different look.
2nd down, 11 now. DJ Harper, the lone running back. And the only man with the ball. Doesn't get to the 15. Ross Forrest there. Johnny Fobbs there, gain of 5.
It's a little counter play. They bring the tight end all the way to the backside. He kicks out the safety. Good positive running play for Boise. Also, more importantly, we're in the 4th quarter. It keeps that clock running.
DJ Harper, 119 total yards, running strong with those 63 yards after contacts. This is 3rd down and 6. Moore bouncing with time and firing a strike. Tyler Shoemaker opening up there across the middle, 25-yard gain. If you hang on to the ball this long in practice, Sean, you get yelled at.
But again, I just like the anticipation. You see him throw the football, the wide receiver's coming across his body. You know, some NFL team is going to fall in love with Kellen Moore. Physically, he may not be what you're looking for ideally, but he makes plays, he wins football game. I would love to have him on my football team.
1st down and 10. 25 yards from Moore to Shoemaker. DJ Harper brought down by Tank Carter at the 41-yard line, gain of 3. Now, I'm going to follow up on that, Sean. You said you'd love to have him on your team to the tune of a 2nd or 3rd round pick, or would you love to have him much later?
Well, I think when you look at Kellen Moore, I think for me, I'd be more comfortable with a 4th or 5th round pick on him. I don't have as big of an investment, which works in his favor because now I can be more patient. I can really give him an opportunity to learn the game. We can develop him in our weight program. He doesn't have that 20-hour confinement on him. He can really just immerse himself in the National Football League and the playing quarterback position.
2 touchdown passes today, now 22 consecutive games with multiple touchdown passes. Working the ball back to Gabe Linehan, puts his head down. Finishes strong for a gain of 10 after running over to Karen Cuba.
And I hope you appreciate how beautiful the music is that Kellen Moore is making right now. The decision-making is impeccable. He's finding the right guy. He's throwing the football accurately. He's doing exactly what you would expect a 4th-year starter that's 46-2 to do in the 4th quarter of a big game.
The 1st down line is brought to you by Geico. 1st down and 10 from the 49. Kellen Moore now completing passes to 9 different receivers this afternoon. Corner blitz comes right up the middle, DJ Harper. And that's a gain of 2. And this is a theme that's we've seen all season for Kellen Moore, the Boise State offense. Important because they lose Austin Pettis. They lose Titus Young. The 2 leading receivers in the history of the school, both going to the National Football League. So to replace them, Kellen Moore has completed passes to at least 8 different receivers in every game this season, and today he's hit 9.
And that just tells you that you have a quarterback that has elite system understanding. He understands the play calls, where his 1st, 2nd, and 3rd wide receiver is, and he keeps everyone happy.
Goes down there, gets back on the ball. Tank Carter dives in late and just lost his footing.
And Tank Carter very lucky
Yeah.
that he wasn't given an unnecessary roughness penalty. He actually trips over DJ Harper's foot as he's coming out of the play fake. His feet are going to get tangled up with DJ Harper right there.
And the ball was exposed for a while there. Very easy to make a case. Tank Carter initially leaving his feet, going for the fumble recovery, turning away from the quarterback. Might have hit him a little bit.
3rd down and 20 now. More stepping up to DJ Harper. Tank Carter there to make the tackle. That's a gain of 10, and it'll bring up 4th and 10.
And that's a successful drive for Boise. Even they did not get any points. They took about 6 minutes off the clock. They're going to pin TCU up back. Chris Peterson fully expects that this senior-laden defense can rise to the occasion and prevent TCU from scoring anymore today.
And that 10-yard gain, in addition to keeping the clock moving, puts Brad Elkin in great position. As I pointed out earlier, 60% of his punts have been down inside the 20, and this is perfect here from the 49-yard line. And that's not his best work. Little half roll to the right and a shank to the right. "24 yards on the punts. TCU offense back on the field on the other side of this break. On opposite sidelines here today, but there was a time they're on the same team. 1986, UC Davis. Who is that young linebacker coach? Gary Patterson there looks angry on media day. And there's your quarterback, Chris Peterson. Still has a Division II record for completion percentage. He said what he remembers about Gary, his volume and his energy stood out every day in practice.
Which is different from the environment they had at UC Davis at the time.
Casey Paul Hall to Ed Wesley. And that's a gain of 3. Go ahead and finish that thought, Sean.
They had a unique atmosphere at UC Davis at the time. Coaches didn't wear whistles. There was not a lot of yelling going on. And in walks Gary Patterson, and he's a polar opposite.
6:35 and counting now, 35-28. The only 2 teams without a loss in the Mountain West Conference battling just as we knew they would. 2nd down, 7. Ed Wesley to the left side. George Iloka there, Jarrell Root as well, and that's a gain of 4.
Big 3rd down play call coming here. I would fully anticipate some kind of a play action to get those safeties to sink in, keep those linebackers inside, find a one-on-one matchup on the edge.
3rd down and 3. Broncos showing blitz. Here they come. Touch pass to Wesley, overshoots him. Shea McClellan providing the coverage.
Great play call by Boise State. They brought what you call it all-out blitz. Had no safety in the middle of the field, manned up across the board. TCU actually had a good play call, but not enough time for the play to develop.
Myron Hout there, providing the pressure to Casey Paul Hall. Normally, when you get a running back against a defensive end, it's advantage offense, but Shea McClellan, nice job of staying with him. This is Chris Potter. Takes it in on the 32-yard line. The Horned Frog down right now is Greg Burks, a linebacker out of Houston, Texas. Been involved in a number of plays here in the special teams today. So Boise will have the ball, 5:37 left, leading 35-28. And in really the position you want to be. You want to be able to go to the running game in a position like this. DJ Harper filling in for starting running back Doug Martin. 22 carries, 124 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So you've got a senior quarterback you trust with the football, and a veteran running back playing very well today. And here's DJ Harper, and that's the TCU defense. Tate Carter there first. Stanley Mapunga also in for a loss of 1.
And that's what you call a run dog right there. Very rarely do TCU linebackers shoot the gap. Tate Carter's going to shoot the gap and give him a tackle for a loss. Generally, their linebackers are like to scrape and make plays down the line of scrimmage.
Tate Carter struggled at different points early in the season, coming back from a couple of shoulder injuries. Broke his hand at one point just before midseason. Ray Patterson feels like he's just starting to physically round back into form and return to being the player we know.
Second down, 12. Frogs bring 4. Time for more. Fires complete to Chris Potter. Gain of 6. Tackle made by Jason Verrett. Third down and 6 here, Sean. You got the lead. You got a hot back. You going running game. You're going to let Kellen throw.
Well, you have a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback. And I don't think Chris Peterson thinks that this game is over by any stretch. You put the ball in the hands of 11. You trust that he's going to make a good decision. And hopefully you pick up the first down in the process.
Bigger question is how you defend him. Do you bring additional pressure on Kellen Moore?
Yes, they do. That fifth defender is Tate Carter, and that is a wide open Kyle Leafall. Kellen Moore recognizes the blitz and a wide open tight end for a gain of 15.
And it's really the subtle things that go unnoticed. I want you to see, watch how he gets depth. He understands that they have one more than they can block, but he also understands that he'll have his tight end if he can buy enough time wide open in the flat. Like the way he manages a football game is just unbelievable for a college quarterback.
And Kyle Leafall made a play in a game situation very similar to that when these two teams met in the Fiesta Bowl. It was a fake punt in that situation, but late in the game as they were trying to ice it, Kyle Leafall, who ended up being the Fiesta Bowl MVP, made a 29-yard reception.
Back to the ground game. Here's DJ Harper. And that was Johnny Fobbs coming up to make a big hit after Karen Cuba already had him cradled, and that's a gain of 3. Cuba slow to get up, jogging off the field.
Harper slow to get up as well with good reason.
Harper and Cuba met, and then Johnny Fobbs came in to finish him off.
And anyone who's watching this game today that doesn't think Boise State is legit, if they run the table, they don't deserve to be in that national title game. They need their head examined. This is a TCU team that's full of athletes, is playing very good, and Boise's doing this without their leading rusher and Doug Martin and their best defensive lineman in Billy Wynn.
Kyle Leafall in short motion. Give off the right side to Drew Wright. The third string tailback for 8 yards.
Like a lot of teams like to say, next man up. No Doug Martin. DJ Harper takes a tough shot. Doesn't matter. We put our third string guy in there, Drew Wright, and get the same results.
Mr. Fourth quarter, all but 2 of his 36 carries coming into this one. And now it's 35 out of 37 coming in the fourth quarter. Hasn't been tackled for a loss all season.
Walk-on tailback. Drew Wright still hasn't earned a scholarship yet on this football team, finally getting his opportunity. They call him the closer here in Boise.
Here comes the TCU blitz, and here's more Drew Wright. Skipping his way down to the 34-yard line. Tackle made by the All-American Tate Carter after a gain of 4.
And this is very impressive, Paul. This is what you call the 4-minute drill. Very few teams can do this where you line up, you say we're going to run the football, play power football, eat up the rest of the clock.
We have timeout on the field, and the Boise State Broncos have a 7-point lead over TCU. Pretty impressive streaks on the line for the Broncos, ranked number 5 right now in the BCS. 35 consecutive wins here at home, and 72-2 at home since 2000. These fans fired up and, as always, expecting victory. It's been a hard-fought game so far, and 2:32 left. The Broncos now inside of TCU territory, facing second down and 6. Drew Wright again. Football's out. Horned Frogs have it. Ross Forrest falls on the Drew Wright fumble. Drew right in for the banged-up DJ Harper and puts the ball on the ground.
And Drew just has to understand, I know he has not been a part of what they've done offensively. Did not expect to have to play in a game this magnitude, but in this situation, at this point in the game, ball security is more important than anything else.
Excellent hit right on the football from Jonathan Anderson coming up from that weak safety position. He's been a playmaker as a freshman in the lineup in recent weeks.
Casey Paul Hall, 4 touchdown passes and 1 interception. 2 minutes, 26 seconds remaining, trailing by 7. Fires that one away. Bring up second down 10. Paul Hall now 19 out of 31 for 400 yards to go along with the 4 TDs and 1 pick.
Couldn't have asked any more out of his pass protection on that snap. He moved the pocket ever so slightly afterwards after the protection started to break down, but great coverage in the secondary from Boise.
Broncos only with 3 down linemen. Paul Hall flicks it out to Brandon Carter. Byron Hout there to knock him back. Gain of 3.
Tough to execute that tunnel screen when you don't have defenders working towards the backfield. They're all laying back right now. 8 people in coverage for Boise.
3rd down and 6. Paul Hall stepping in and firing complete. Antoine Hicks. Gain of 14.
Great throw, great play call. They ran return routes underneath. They got the coverage. You see Brian Holder sneaking up at every return route. He gets to dig behind him. Think about the significance of this drive for this sophomore quarterback. You're on the road against a top 5 team that hadn't lost at home since the 1800s.
Paul Hall firing to Sky Dawson, pivoting and getting out of bounds. Lee Hightower missed the tackle, and that's a gain of 9.
We've all been in these late game situations, guys, and for some reason that first down of a 2-minute drive always seems to be the toughest one, and then the offense gets in a bit of rhythm.
Think back to what we saw from Casey Paul Hall a couple months ago, Sean, against Air Force. Completed his first 11 passes, kind of gave us a feeling that he was going to be a player in this conference. And how his teammates would look at him differently if he could pull this off. 1:28 left, trailing by 7. Working the underneath stuff again and again, a completion. Jonathan Jones, not only with the catch, broken tackles and the sprint down the left side for 21.
And that's a big catch by Jonathan Jones. His dad, Paul Jones, was a 3-year letterman at defensive U for TCU. So I know if he's back home in Dallas, they're very proud of his son.
Jonathan coming into this game with only 6 catches for 41 yards, so that by far the biggest play of his season. 1:19 left.
Casey has to be careful. Boise is going to bring some pressure. Don't make a mistake.
There's the pressure. Paul Hall flushed out and just gets rid of it.
Good job by the young quarterback in that situation. Understand where you're at. It's 1st and 10. They brought more than we can block. Don't make a bad decision and force the ball into coverage and have a turnover occur.
Paul Hall also taking advantage of the much more liberal rules this year for the quarterbacks to just throw it away. As long as it's in the general vicinity of a receiver, that's okay. 2nd down 10.
Now, if I was TCU, I would not be afraid to sneak a draw in to Wayman James. Boise's playing really soft.
Casey Paul Hall now 23 out of 36, 448 yards. The double pump. Brandon Carter is open. Touchdown, Horned Frogs.
Ball to the wide receiver, Brandon Carter, 25 touchdown.
Impressive drive by the sophomore quarterback, Casey Paul Hall. And this is a big-time get for TCU. Brandon Carter was a 4-star recruit They out-recruited Texas, Oklahoma, all the Big 12 schools to get him here, and that shows you why. Very talented young man.
Brandon Carter already had the long touchdown earlier today of 75 yards.
And this is the same route he scored on earlier, Paul. He ran that slant and go again. Does a great job of high pointing that football, going up, catching it at its highest point, secures it, definitely has strong hands, comes down, makes a great play for his sophomore quarterback.
I go back to the conversation we had with Gary Patterson earlier this week, and he said right out, we've got an advantage going over the top of these defensive backs. Touchdown passes of 75, 74, 69, and now 25.
And if you're Gary Patterson,
right.
Your field goal kicker's already missed the extra point. Do you go for 2 here and try and win it?
Wow, what a move. Trailing by 1. Ross Evans just flat pulled one earlier and missed an extra point. So here they are going for 2 and a 1-point lead.
Final, the second half, 30-second timeout.
So a huge reason why Gary Patterson going for 2 here instead of the 1. We mentioned that Ross Evans earlier today didn't have an extra point blocked. He just flat out missed it. Pulls it to his left. Not even close, and perhaps that on the mind of Gary Patterson. Instead of going for the tie at 35, going for the 2 and a 1-point lead.
And I don't know if Gary believes in omens.
And setting this up, Drew Wright, third string tailback, puts the ball on the turf. Big hit by Jonathan Anderson, recovered by Ross Forrest. And Casey Paul firing his 5th touchdown pass of the afternoon. Second to Brandon Carter to bring his team within 1. Now the 2-point conversion that would put them ahead by 1.
And very interesting decision to have the football on the left hash.
Rolling out and firing, Josh Boyce with the catch and the 2. TCU leads by 1. Talk about strong hands and a clutch play. Josh Boyce showing us both.
And you're absolutely right, because Casey's a little bit late with this football. If you can see, you can tell by the look on his face that that one was very close. But Josh Boyce, you mentioned it, strong hands, takes the football away. Boise cornerback Quaylon Ewan Burton had an opportunity to make the play, didn't. But if I was TCU, I wouldn't celebrate too much yet. You have a young man at quarterback for Boise who's going to be invited to the Heisman. Minute 5, is that enough time for Kellen Moore to get his team in position to win this game?
And before we get a look here at Kellen Moore, a couple of notes on Casey Paul. His numbers are outstanding. 473 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. 2 things that will not show up on that stat sheet: 2-point conversions. He scored one himself, reaching across and diving in earlier in the second half. There's 1 2-point conversion. Then the pass to Josh Boyce. So all the yards, over 400, the 5 touchdowns, and 2 successful 2-point conversions, and the Horned Frogs lead by 1.
And guys, let me play dime store psychologist for a second here, because I don't believe Gary Patterson wouldn't have faith in Ross Evans at this point. His kicker is the leading point getter in Mountain West Conference history. I believe he thought Ross Evans could hit that extra point, even though he missed the earlier one in the ball game. I think that's about being on the road against the number 5 team in the country, wanting to close the show right now.
Kellen Moore and the Bronco offense going to get a head start on this with 1:05 left as the ball is kicked out of bounds.
Placed at the 40-yard line, first down.
Kellen Moore will come out at the 40-yard line.
As a coach, I mean, you're on the sideline, you're like, how does that happen?
Now, if it does come down to a field goal attempt from Dan Goodale, he's only 3 out of 4 this season. His longest is 32, has not even attempted in the 40s. 1st and 10 from the 40. With time. Penalty flag is in as Moore was looking to hook up with Matt Miller. Jason Verrett with the coverage.
Pass was thrown holding on a defense number 2. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Jason Verrett there trying to keep up with Matt Miller. A little bit extra handle toward the end.
Instead of trusting his technique, Jason Verrett guessed early and it ended up costing him.
Kellen Moore. A little bit of miscommunication or not being on the same page with Tyler Shoemaker. Left it way behind him.
Kellen Moore's watching the defensive backs, the linebackers from TCU. They are squatting on everything right now, just as they did on the previous series where Boise had the football. So whether it's Greg McCoy or anyone else, they're going to have to, as you said, Sean, trust their technique, get in that back pedal, and not let anything behind you at this point.
Dan Goodale just 2 out of 3.
And this is where Stanley Mapunga, TCU's best defensive end, he needs to show up. You know they're throwing the football, find a way to get some pressure on Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore let that one go way before Matt Miller came out of his break. Also threw it way over his head.
Went away from the one-on-one pass rush, decided to finally come with a twist game. Looping around, Kellen Moore not able to step into that pass. Had to get rid of the football earlier than he wanted to.
3rd down and 10 now. 50 seconds remaining. 5 out of 11 Boise State today on 3rd down. Broncos also have 2 timeouts remaining. TCU rushes 4. Moore with time. And again overshoots his receiver. Was looking for Chris Potter. And it's going to be 4th and 10.
An uneasy tension here down at field level around Broncos Stadium. All the folks here wearing orange and blue. The hopes and dreams of this season.
Kellen Moore wanted the interference. That was just good coverage by Greg McCoy. 4th down and 10. Broncos need to get to the 40-yard line to keep this drive alive and to keep their hopes alive as well. TCU rushes 4. Kellen Moore dodging defenders and firing incomplete. Red flag is in. Penalty marker on the 28.
Pass interference on the defense number 2. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Saw Gary Patterson there wondering if that was a catchable football. The call is pass interference. Jason Verrett on 4th and 10.
And the rush came again. Another twist stunt from TCU.
Great job by Kellen Moore of ducking under the rusher. Extending the play. Oh, I don't know about that one.
Hold on number 7, Greg McCoy.
You hate to see a football game end with a controversial play, but that was not pass interference.
Boise State 35 consecutive wins at home, trailing by 1. And on the move, Tyler Shoemaker spinning right to the first down marker. Gain of 10.
And if you're Chris Peterson, if you're forced to kick a field goal, what's your comfort level? What's your range? Where do you feel you need to get it to be comfortable that your kicker can make this field goal?
Dan Goodale. Long of 32. Boise State has not been in this situation this year with him warming up on the sidelines, thinking about a game-winning kick. All of their victories coming by double digits.
And we all remember the storyline from last season against Nevada, Kyle Broxman, and how their one loss from 2010 played out.
The quick flip outside. Matt Miller to the 20.
And even more importantly, Paul, do you want to try and center this football up at some point so that the kicker can kick from in the middle of the field?
Boise State now has one timeout remaining. This drive stayed alive because on 4th and 10, Horned Frogs called for pass interference. Greg McCoy, number 7, with his hands on Matt Miller. Ball thrown over the head of Matt Miller, but the penalty flag came in.
And not to be overly critical of the referee, but in that situation, if you aren't sure, I don't like that he throws that flag. Wasn't a lot of contact there. Didn't look like Greg McCoy was holding Matt Miller.
And as big a question as any on that play is, was the football even catchable?
Kellen Moore now just working to get the ball into the middle of the field. Loss of 1. And there's the man of the hour, Dan Goodale.
And if you're Chris Peterson, it's a different kicker, but you have to be nervous. Last time you were in a game of this magnitude was last year against Nevada, and it was a missed field goal that actually cost you the victory.
Dan Goodale, this season, is long of 32. Ball's going to be placed on the 22-yard line. This is from 38. He's good from 31 and 32 so far this year. We call it 39 yards. Dan Goodale pushed it. Pushed to the right. And TCU wins 36-35. 35 consecutive wins at home for Boise State. In the rearview mirror, the Horned Frogs come up with a win. TCU Horned Frogs have 2 losses this season, but no losses in the Mountain West Conference. TCU sitting atop the Mountain West after coming to Boise and knocking off the Broncos 36-35. TCU now 22 consecutive Mountain West Conference wins. Let's go down to Anthony Herron.
And TCU coach Gary Patterson sharing a moment right now with Kellen Moore. Of course, one of the great quarterbacks that Gary Patterson has ever faced. And coach,
I don't want to ever face him again.
And you won't have to, coach. Describe the emotions after this dramatic win.
I'll be honest with you, I can't even feel it. I don't know, because it just happened so fast. I mean, in the right, I feel good for TCU. I feel badly for Boise because of all the things they did and where they were at. You know, we took a chance in the 2-point play. I told them we started the drive, get their 2-point play ready, because we weren't going to be able to go over overtime and beat these guys.
And talk me through that a little more. Talk strategy with me, coach, because you've got the leading scorer in Mountain West history as your kicker. Going for 2, there's a gutsy call.
No, we're going to do it. This fans, nobody beats Boise in Boise. If we're going to beat them, we're going to have to do it differently.
Talk to me about your football team. What does this say about the youth you've had in the lineup throughout the season and where you're at now at this point?
Well, I don't know. Right now, I'm so proud of them because we came to a situation where nobody gave us a chance, big underdog, very good football team in Boise. Let me just say this. When I think about Chris Peterson, his team, and the people here in Boise, I can't even tell you. what I can say about my football team, I can tell you this. You know, we've been looking for one of these things, one of these ball games to see if we could get back into it and get back the same swagger we had a year ago. We went to Utah last year. We've gone to BYU. We've gone to Clemson. And now they've gone to Boise.
You mentioned the confidence, the swagger. Your quarterback, Casey Paul Hall, only a sophomore. He's got the weird haircut going, Coach, but that kid's got some swagger.
Yeah, well, maybe he should have cut it a long time ago. You know, it's, you know, not just him. There's a bunch of them. I mean, I can't tell you all the guys on this team of what they thought. They never gave up. They never thought coming in here being intimidated. They knew what kind of team Boise had. We also knew, though, that what kind of football team we had to give ourselves a chance to be good, and we did what we needed to do. They got a great offense and defense. You know, we just got real lucky.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Congratulations.
Coach Anthony, thank you very much. And Casey Paul Hall, what a performance. Gary Patterson got from his sophomore quarterback, Sean, 473 yards passing and 5 touchdowns.
And it came down to a field goal. You remember last year against Nevada, they missed the kick. This year, pushed it right again. It has to be very frustrating for Chris Peterson. This is a game that they had in their hands. They had an injury to Doug Martin, their leading tailback. He was not able to play. DJ Harper, who filled in admirably, had to go out of the game. They had a walk-on tailback in the game, and Drew Wright, they were up 7, and he fumbled the football, and that led to TCU scoring and getting a 2-point conversion. Has to be very frustrating for Chris Peterson.
Let's go back down to Anthony Herron, who has a very happy Casey Paul Hall.
And I'm guessing that may have been one of the better moments you've shared with your offensive coordinator there.
Yeah, well, one of few, but I love it, though. Love it. Feels great.
There's a lot of pressure replacing a guy like Andy Dalton. Do you feel like a moment like this, leading your team from behind to victory, can kind of cement your status as the starting QB at TCU?
Yeah, it feels amazing coming out here in this hostile environment. We knew it wasn't going to be easy, but all that hype, all that whatever for them, we wanted to come in and show that just because we had 2 losses, we're not never count us out.
Talk to me about that last drive, Casey, because no one knew whether or not you guys were going to be able to drive the field and get the victory when it came down to it. Did you have some words for your teammates in the huddle?
Only thing I said was let's drive to the score, because we knew we had what it took to take it down and score. We just had to execute, and we did.
And on the 2-point conversion, it looked like we weren't sure whether or not Josh Boyce was going to be open, and you completed the pass to him. Were you a little bit apprehensive in throwing it?
A little, just because of the corner that came down, but that was a heck of a play by him. A great play, and he saved me right there, because I left the ball a little inside where I thought it might have been an interception, but he made a heck of a play, and I'm real happy it happened.
And lastly, your first and only duel with Kellen Moore. You throw for over 400 yards in your first start here at Boise. What are your words for matching up with a play like that?
He's a great quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks in the nation, like on my list. And it's a great opportunity to play against him, being on the same in the same venue as him. And I wish him nothing but the best. And I'm still a little lost of words right now.
All right. Well, congratulations, Casey. Excellent job.
Loss of words for Casey Paul Hall. No loss of production, though. 24 out of 37, 473 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Also converted 2 2-point conversions. Here's the big one, Sean. Late, the pump fake, and just gives Brandon Carter a chance to go up and get it, and that's exactly what he does.
Yeah, it's a great decision, great throw by Casey Paul Hall all day. He made the right reads. He made the throws. This is a 2-point conversion. He said he threw it a little inside. But his sophomore wide receiver, Josh Boyce, made the play. And you think about the future of this TCU program, Casey Paul Hall and Josh Boyce, only sophomores.
And Josh Boyce, 5 catches, 163 yards to go along with 3 touchdowns and that huge 2-point conversion. Let's check out the Foster's game stats, a game that ends with TCU knocking off Boise State 36-35 and 954 yards of total offense.
You knew both offenses were explosive coming in, but we also knew both defenses were very good. This really came down to who had the ball last. Boise had it last, missed the field goal, but both teams can walk off the field with their head high because they competed. Both overcame adversity. We got what we anticipated today, a phenomenal football game.
Final score, TCU 36, to 35. Once again, the final is 36 to 35. Remember, Mountain West football continues next Saturday as TCU hosts Colorado State at 3:30 Eastern. Unbelievable game we saw. It was billed as the game of the year in the Mountain West Conference, and that's exactly what it was to this point. 71 points later, down to the final seconds, TCU wins at Boise 36 to 35. For Sean King, Anthony Herron, and the rest of our crew, I'm Paul Burmeister. Stay tuned for Liam McCoy in our New York studio after these messages. TCU wins by 1.